everybody. It's good to see everybody here tonight. I know it's been a while. It's been a couple of weeks. Oh, y'all, it's been crazy around here. Crazy. Not bad crazy as in people getting hurt or passing away, God forbid, but just, it's one of those, when it rains, it pours, and whatever can go wrong all at one time goes wrong. Something needs to be repaired, and then something else breaks down. And the latest thing, um, I don't want to dwell on it too much tonight because we're not here to talk about my problems. We're here to talk about missing persons. But my vehicle I've been driving went kaput. It's bit the big one. So now I'm in the process of trying to get some finances together to find a new car, or not a new car necessarily, but a good used car at least. But so that's just the latest in a long stream of a series of unfortunate events, let's call it that. But anyway, like I said, tonight is not the night for my complaining. We're here to talk about some missing persons. Welcome to everybody that's in chat. I'm going to get to you guys. Welcome to the lurkers. If it's your first time here, thank you so much for joining us. This is our weekly. And let me know, please, in the comments or chat if you can hear me okay. You should be able to. I think I've got all my settings correct. But if you're new here, this is our Missing Person Monday live stream. We do this usually every week now for the last month or so, and maybe for a couple more months. And we've got a lot going on the farm. It might be kind of sporadic, but hopefully, at least this on Monday nights will be uh, pretty regular every week. And then once things kind of start settling down and we get things worked out, we'll get back to doing some more of our True Crime After Darks. We usually do maybe not necessarily every week, but every other week or so, twice a month. We'll do a True Crime After Dark. Just talk about some current true crimes. We like to talk about some solved cases, especially cold cases. Once again, if you're new here, on my channel, I feature mostly missing persons and cold cases. That just, obviously every missing persons case, every unsolved homicide case is important, but a lot of times the cold cases, the older cases, can just kind of get shoved to the side. Maybe not necessarily forgotten about, but just, because there's always, unfortunately, there is no shortage of missing persons. So, you have new ones, and then so that's the reason a lot of times that the placing no blame at all, absolutely, on the law enforcement and all the good people who work on these cases and all the advocates out there that help with cold cases. But it's just, like I said, it's just overwhelming. But anyway, let me see who is in chat, and we will get started. And tonight, we're going to be featuring missing persons from Omaha, Nebraska. And I believe I have 6 cases to go over tonight. As always, especially with these cold cases, on most of them, there's not a lot of information out there as far as interviews with law enforcement who are currently or may have worked on the case in the past, interviews with them, or I especially like to find interviews with family members, just to kind of not focus solely on just the facts of the case, but who the missing person is, who or he is or are, because we always hope for the best, that obviously they're still, they're out there alive and well somewhere. But it's just, kind of gives a face and more of a name and a personality to the missing. All right, let me see. I feel like I'm babbling tonight, so you guys just tell me to hush up and get going. Junior checked in. No, I don't want to put Junior in timeout. Good Lord, I'm already pushing buttons wrong. Junior checked in earlier. He said he would be here. I hope he made it back. It's always good to have Junior here. Miss Paula checked in. Hopefully I'm sure she is here somewhere. Miss Lisa Joe is here. Good to see you. Goodness. And once again, I apologize. I'm still working off my phone. I don't have my Wi-Fi hotspot, so I'm having to do everything off my phone and reading all the information that I had to type into my computer. Um, so I have to that's a job in itself. You know, I'm a pretty good uh, typist, whatever the proper name is. You know, back when I was in school, we had to learn how to type. That was one of the classes we had to take. But sometimes my fingers get ahead of my brain when I'm typing, and so I have to go back and try to correct all my errors. So if I'm reading and I kind of stumble a little bit, I'm going to blame it on I typed something in wrong. That is my story, and I'm sticking to it. Josh is here. Hey, Josh, good to see you, sir. I hope you're doing well. I hope everybody's doing well with all the rain again. All the Texas got a lot of rain again. Now we have a new tropical storm out there. I don't think, hopefully, it's not going to be too bad. And then we up in Canada, they got all the wildfires going, so that means the northern United States is getting all that horrible smoke drifting in. So it's just, I hope everybody is in this hot. It's ungodly hot. I think the heat index here, I'm in central Arkansas, is supposed to get up to like 115 or 118. Actual temperature is probably going to be 99 or 100 tomorrow. So I hope everybody is staying safe, staying hydrated, staying in as much as you can. Um, anyway, Chris is here. Good to see you, my friend. Miss Nicole is here. Hello, Miss Nicole. Always good to see you. Um, There's Mustang. Good to see you, my friend. I hope you're doing well. And I'm sure Mustang is getting in the links to everybody's channels as always. Thank you, Chris. Chris says, bless you and welcome back. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And I apologize. Like I said, it's just a lot going on. A lot going on around the farm. We're trying to do, I don't want to get in, like I said, Friday I may come on and we may just do like a chill and chat live stream, and I'll get you guys caught up on everything that's going on. But between the, like I said, the repairs we're trying to make on the house, and then the car dying, so now I'm having to look for the new car and da 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 da. But sometimes it's just a little bit overwhelming. But anyway, maybe this will take my mind off of it for a couple of hours at least. Um, Thank you, Chris. Yeah, Chris says it's okay. Priorities come first. Yeah, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. I love doing this, but life happens. We all know, and sometimes you just gotta roll with the punches and just keep on going. Um, Lisa Joe says, there she is. Are you covering Mary Alice Clark? Let me see. I honestly don't remember which ones I have because I did this like this was supposed to be my last week. The live stream for last week, which I had to end up because I think that's the day that my car went kaput and I was having a really, really bad day. So I postponed the live stream. I don't think the name sounds familiar, but I don't think I have her on here to go over tonight. But I can definitely will take a look at her case. That name sounds really familiar. So I'm sure I probably came across it somewhere. You guys may have mentioned it to me before, but yeah, I will definitely try to remember to look at that one. Um, Lisa Joe said that sucks. Yeah, which part? The car? Yeah, I think the car part is the worst. I mean, on one hand, I hate that the car went kaput, but I'm kind of excited and once I get the finances straightened out to have a new vehicle, or like I said, not necessarily new, but uh, a good used car. We're looking. I really like the Rav4. I've got that's what got my baby brother doing is looking at vehicles, and we're looking into. He's been looking at because my aunt has a Rav4, and I've ridden in it a couple of times. I really like it, and it's he's found a hybrid, some used ones for some really good prices that I could, pulling money from here and there that I could afford to get. But anyway, we'll see. Either that or a Toyota Camry, because we did a few years ago we had a Toyota Camry. So we're kind of looking at those two for options. But like I said, anything that will run a reliable vehicle, and I'm not fancy. Anything that will get the job done that I can afford, I will take. Okay, thank you. Lisa Joe says the sound is great. Thank you so much. Um, yeah, Josh has been busy too. Josh says it's been crazy for me too. Travel, family stuff, oh goodness, with passing aways too. I'm sorry to hear that, Josh. Work projects, much busier summer for me. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear about if you have family members or friends passing away. Thoughts, prayers, and good vibes going out your way, most definitely. But yeah, it's just plus summer's busy anyway. I don't know. I mean, we don't have any school age kids in the family anymore, but it just seems like summers are just always busier. I don't know what it is. I'm not really doing anything different because at this, at my age, when I was a teenager, we loved summer, obviously. We went to the lake every weekend and, had little parties every weekend. But, at 55 years old, I'm just like, if I can stay in the house, I'm going to stay in the house. I don't like to go out of the house and be around most people. Anyway, Chris says tomorrow there's a live stream that's going to be interesting. Ooh, Chris, you'll have to clue me in on what that is. See, I'm kind of like that too. Josh said, I've been experiencing true crime fatigue, but it may be because of all the crazy things going on. And see, I haven't even, aside from getting all the information together for this live stream, I haven't really had a chance to sit down and get caught up on replay crew for all my channels, my friend channels that I watch, and then what anything that's going on in the news. So I'm so behind. But I mean, I don't know anymore, and I don't want to get into it. Like I said, I promised we're going to get into our missing persons, but anymore when I go in and look at my YouTube feed, you know, obviously it's mostly true crime that pops up, but it's just true crime doesn't pop up. It's like other people, creators, whatever, fighting amongst themselves. So sometimes I don't even look at it. But anyway, I try not to let it bother me. I just try to, scroll past all that madness and just concentrate on the important stuff. But I definitely understand what you're saying, Josh. Oh, Junior made it back. I'm glad Junior made it back. So it's good to see Junior. He's the OG around here, one of the OGs. Yeah, Chris says, Josh, blame the crazy weather. Absolutely. Ah, Miss Stormy made it. Where's she at? There she is. Hello, my dear. I'm glad to see you. I hope you're doing well. Um, let me see. I just want to get caught up, make sure I didn't overlook anybody. Um, listen. Oh, sorry, working off my phone. I'm almost putting people in timeout. Um, Josh says he's a I can't even read tonight. A babbler, a rambler, and a scrambler. So you're in good company. I know. You know me. Anybody who's watched me, you guys in length of time know that I tend to babble. Okay, so Chris says, I've never heard of that channel. John, or maybe I have. Maybe you've mentioned it before. Says John Krupa, Freedom to Draw, is going to be doing a case that I sent him. Excellent. Send me the link to that live stream if you can, Chris. You can messenger it to me, and depending on what I have what time it is tomorrow, what I have going on, I'll try to watch it. Um, I saw that. I do have them on my to watch list. Stormy says you should check out my last two lives. I had two retired NYPD cold case homicide detectives on 30 plus years on the job. Yes, I saw the notifications that your blah, 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 community post that you put up about them. So yes, I definitely have them on my watch list. I will definitely check them out. Um, Josh says he does blame the weather. Yeah, just what did Millie Vanilli say? Blame it on the rain. Oh goodness, yes, thank you. Mustang says, praying you find a decent car. Yeah. And actually, my brother, baby brother, has found some really, really good deals on some used RAV4s. I mean, and I say used, but they're, I think the oldest one found was like just a 2023 up 2000 to like a 2025, low mileage, for a good what he says is a good price. So, I mean, do not claim to be an expert on when it comes to buying cars. So that is why I'm glad I have my brother, um, to, he can look at a car and look at the details of it and say, yeah, it's a good deal or not a good deal, or, yeah, yay or nay on if I should buy it. So that has been his assignment, since, my other car bit the big one. But he's found some good deals. Oh my goodness, Lisa Joe, are you serious? Lisa Joe says a tree fell on her house. That sucks, to put it mildly. I'm not making light of it. Was it due to a storm, or is everybody okay? That's the most important question. Oh my goodness, I evidently obviously don't want to hear anything like that, or hate to hear anything like that. Goodness gracious, Lisa Joe, I hope everything is okay. Junior says, "Oh my goodness, I would love that. It's 73 degrees in Adrian, Michigan. Oh, I would love just 90 degrees. Which after tomorrow, it's supposed to cool down. Which cool down, be cooler. It's only going to get into the mid 90s. But the thing is, the humidity is going to be going down. So that's the thing, is the humidity, which makes it even worse. Um, Oh yeah, Lisa Joe's up in that area, up in the Minnesota area. She says I'm only an hour from the BWCA, so the fires aren't far away. Yeah, actually, my mom is on the and my aunt are on one of their trips with Little Rock Tours, and they're up in that. They were in Washington State today, up around Mount Rainier. Uh, there, they're being in that part of the country for their trip, and yeah, mom said they were supposed to. She was texting me earlier, said they were supposed to go on gondola is not the right word. Whatever you call them, little trolley things that kind of go up, that you're actually suspended in air, but you're going up the side of the mountain. They're not actually going to go up Rainier, but it's one of the mountains beside of it to get a good view of Rainier. But mom said, when she texted earlier, that there's so much smoke that they didn't know how good of a view they were going to have. But yeah, that's not good. Not good. Oh, yeah, I was reading something about that. Stormy says there are going to be 200, good Lord, 200 witnesses in the Lindsay Clancy trial. And she says, I hope jury selection doesn't take 3 months. Yeah, good luck with that. If I'm thinking of the same one, isn't she was like a social media influencer, and she moved to Florida and met the guy, and the one that said they were fighting, and she just kind of threw the knife at him and ended up unaliving him. Is that the same case? If not, please let me know. I could obviously have my cases mixed up. Um, but I think that's the one that I'm thinking about. Lisa Joe says there's a lot to unpack with her case. I worked it a lot. Or, oh, you talking about Mary Alice's case? Yeah. Mustang says that is a lot of witnesses. Man. Yep. Stormy says it was 103 in Texas today. Yeah, I think today in Central Arkansas, I think the temperature gauge, they have one at the national airport, or here, hold on, Bill Clinton National Airport. It was actually got to 100 here, but anyway, all right, let me get through these so we can get started. Lisa Joe says she went with the Chevy Trax because it was cheaper to buy one brand new than a used SUV. Oh, I know, used SUVs. or like full size SUVs because we do have our backup vehicle is a 2006, I think, or 2005 Chevy Tahoe. Man, I have people wanting to buy the Tahoe all the time, but I'm like, nope, that's our backup vehicle. Um, and Lisa Jo says with the dogs, yeah, she needed a hatchback. Thank you, Junior. Junior sent a $10 super sticker. Thank you so much. Once again, I still don't. On the free plan still with StreamYard, so I can't use any of my video clips. But everybody can put a moo cow in the chat for Junior. Thank you so much, my friend. That was so very kind. I appreciate it very much. Yep, everybody's saying thank you. I've got to get started. Uh, oh, I agree. Yeah. Lisa Jo says I got tired of the a-holes and I don't work on cases publicly anymore. I know what you're talking about. Let's see. Hey, Michigan Wifey says made it to another live. Good to have you here, ma'am. That's another OG. Is my Michigan Wifey. Yep, Miss Paula says the Canadian wildfires are affecting New Hampshire. Yep, I saw that on the Weather Channel the other day. They were talking about the northeast coast, how they were all the smoke and stuff. All right, I promise we are fixing to get started. Okay, Lisa Jo says a storm because she mentioned a tree fell on our house. Everyone is okay. That is good to hear. Absolutely. No, I don't want to delete Miss Lisa Jo. There she goes. Um, yep, not the tree we were worried about. I remember that kind of. Josh says, "Who remembers? Let's make a deal." I probably watched the reruns of that one. Um, yeah, Josh says it's humid up in the Panhandle. There's actually greenery. All right, let me make sure I haven't missed anybody, and we will get started. Oh, there's the moo cows. Uh, hey, UCC, unindicted co-conspirator. Good to see you. Glad you could make it. Josh has got reindeers instead of cows, but that's okay. We will take it. All right, let me make sure no one else. Okay, I think I'm finally caught up, so we will get started. Um, all right. Oh, I guess I need to bring up my slideshow. There it is. Switch hands here. All right, so first should be Margaret K. Holst, if I can talk once again. I think this is the oldest case we will be talking about tonight. She's been missing since August 4th of 1977. So that I was 6 years old when she went missing. So Margaret is a white female. She was just 18 years old when she went missing. She'll be 67 years old as of 2026. When she went missing, she was 5'6" tall, 130 pounds, with red hair. It doesn't give an eye color. Her last known clothing was a long sleeved red and black shirt, blue jeans, blue sandals, an opal ring on her left hand, and a small gold band with an M stamped on it. That apparently, I guess they meant that she wears on her left hand. And it says she was also carrying a brown imitation leather purse with a shoulder strap. Her nickname is Margie. Okay, so here it says her eyes may appear hazel or blue. She has a small scar on the center of her forehead. Her ears are pierced and her upper teeth are crooked. So Margaret left her residence in the 4900 block of North 25th Street at around 9:30 p.m. She left a note saying that she was going out on a date with a boy that she had met recently. It was confirmed that she did meet this boy. He says that after their date, he dropped her off near her home So I'm taking that to mean not actually at her home, but near her home. Don't know how near or how far. After that, she has never been seen or heard from again, and few details are available in her case. I was able to find, oh, let me give you the phone number. But if you do have any information, call the Omaha PD at 402-444 5818. So I wasn't able to find like from online news sources, but I did find it was from a website called lostandfound.org. It's kind of like a little blog or vlog, blog, I guess it would be, site that just has some things about some missing persons. Not really a whole lot more information, but whoever wrote the blog, in my opinion, did a very good job, but brought up some really good points just about cold cases in general. And this was posted in February of 2025. So it says Margaret was a bright and kind young woman with a promising future ahead of her. She was an average teenager. She had dreams, she had ambitions, and she had a loving family. Her disappearance was completely out of character, which makes the case even more alarming. The Omaha PD quickly launched an investigation, but there were few leads to follow. The young man she went out with that night was questioned, but no evidence directly linked him to her disappearance. If he knew more, and this is just whoever wrote this blog says, if he knew more, he never revealed it. Authorities did search the area around her home and other locations where she might have gone, but unfortunately nothing turned up. Margaret's case was complicated by lack of witnesses. There were no confirmed sightings of her after she supposedly returned home that night. The lack of digital records, such as phone tracking or security cameras. So, once again, this is from 1977. So, obviously, there was no cell phones. Probably, I'm sure there were security cameras, but obviously not as many as we have now in 2026. They're everywhere. But so the lack of phone tracking and security cameras made it difficult for investigators to determine her last known movements. For years, detectives have tried to piece together what happened to Margaret. Did she leave voluntarily? Was she taken against her will? Did someone close to her know more than they admitted? These questions remain unanswered to this day. Several theories exist about what could have happened to Margaret. Some believe she may have run away, though this is unlikely given her strong ties to family and friends. Others suspect foul play, considering she was last seen with someone she barely knew. Cases involving young women disappearing under similar circumstances often point to abduction or violence. And unfortunately, that is true. And for the most part, not all, but for the most part, a lot of missing persons and abductions are from someone fairly close, known to the victim, maybe just in an acquaintance kind of way, or say, somebody may have a habit of going into a particular like coffee shop or a particular restaurant or something of that nature, um, you know, or in some cases, it's someone that's very, very close to them. So it goes on to say one possibility is that she encountered danger after being dropped off, which is also a possibility. I mean, with these cases, obviously, now I'm not an expert. I'm just going off of what I've tried to learn from the experts is, um, you have to look at the people closest to you first, or to the missing first. Who was the last person to see her? Which in this case was this young man that she had gone out on the date with. Hadn't known very long. Obviously, he has to be looked at just to be ruled in or ruled out. But you know, just because he was the last one that possibly or was last known to be with her doesn't necessarily mean that he did anything. He could have been, especially if he didn't take her, or even if he did drop her off, in her driveway. Who's to say? After he pulled out, somebody could have jumped out of the bushes and something happened to her then. But it said she was dropped off near her home, so that makes it even kind of even more likely, or even more a possibility. I'm not going to say likely, even more a possibility that if she was dropped off just near her home, it was to say maybe even just a block or two. Um, Bad things can happen in short periods of time and short distances. So, um, very, very, very possible. It's one of the possibilities that something did happen after this young man did drop her off. Just my opinion. Absolutely, let me know in chat. What you guys think, or if you're watching replay, we would love our replay crew. Please leave a comment on any of the cases that we talk about tonight. All right, so I lost my place. Oh, so if she never actually made it home, someone else may have crossed her path before she could get inside. The fact that no one found her purse, clothing, or other belongings should suggest that she didn't simply wander off. Another disturbing theory is that Margaret may have been taken by someone she knew. Absolutely another valid possibility. Many disappearances involve individuals who are familiar with the victim. If this was the case, the person responsible may have hidden the truth all these years. And that is a very scary, no matter what size of city, big city or small town you live in, just the thought that somebody from that community uh, could be a predator is just very, obviously very frightening, very scary. Um, so Margaret's family has endured decades of uncertainty. Every passing year without new information makes it harder to find answers. Investigators continue to check leads, but time works against missing persons cases. Unfortunately, we all know that's true. The longer someone is missing, the harder it is to track down crucial evidence. Another valid point. Despite this, there is still hope. Many cold cases have been solved years or even decades later. That is one of the good things. More and more these days, especially with the advancements of the DNA testing and all the new technology, some of these 30, 40, 50, 60-year-old cases are being solved. Um, Sorry, I lost my place again. Um, Advances in technology, including forensic science and DNA testing, have helped bring closure to families who thought they would never know the truth. If new evidence emerges or if someone comes forward with information, Margaret's case could finally be solved. Absolutely. Even after so many years, it is never too late to come forward with information. Absolutely. And no bit of information is ever too small, especially in these missing persons cases. So once again, if you know anything about what happened to Margaret, you can help bring closure to her family. No detail is too small. Someone out there may have seen something that could break the case wide open. So I just thought, like I said, that whoever wrote this, I think, did a very good job, in my opinion. Bring brought up excellent points about, never lose hope. There's always hope. It just takes one little crumb of information that could, as I say, break the case wide open. So let me get caught up in the comments. Let me get a drink. I apologize for my scratchy voice. Let me get back down to where I left off at. There it is. I knew I marked it somewhere. Okay. Let me see. Let me see. Oh goodness, now you're talking about the AI data centers. Don't even get me started on that. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I know. I've heard people. So Michigan Wifey says we have a slow but politician who wants to know why Canada hasn't done more about the smoke coming to our state. How about Canada doesn't control the wind? I know. Oh my God. I've watched, not to get off track again. Oh my God. I've seen, of course, I don't get on TikTok. I do have a TikTok account that I plan to post like shorts or whatever you call them on TikTok, for cases. I don't ever get on TikTok. Is so Anyway, the stuff you see on TikTok is so stupid, but I guess some TikTok, some creators cross post the same shorts or what videos YouTube, TikTok, probably across all the platforms. But I've seen so many pop up. Why isn't Canada doing, just like Michigan Watch says, people say, why isn't Canada doing something about the smoke? Well, what are they going to do? Exactly. Anyway, this is the world we live in today. Anyway, oh, be careful. UCC is cutting down broken branches. Goodness gracious. Yeah, don't get, yeah, be careful. It's just too damn hot earlier. Hopping back on the ladder and lurking. Be careful. Do not fall off the ladder, please. Oh goodness, don't fall off the ladder. Yeah, no ladder falling. Let me see. Um, Chris, going back to, we were talking about the Lindsay Clancy case. Chris says that's a very recent case that upsets me. Um, so maybe it's not the one I'm thinking of. Yeah, Stormy says that's very understandable. It reminds me of Andrea Yates. Chris says it reminds him of Susan Smith. So both of those are ones that had to do with their kiddos. So maybe Lindsay Clancy is not the one. I'm thinking about a different one. That is a good question. Josh says in Margaret's case here, I wonder why the boyfriend dropped her off near her home and not at it. I don't know. I wonder that myself. I mean, not because I necessarily think I mean, we don't know whether he did or didn't have anything to do with it. It might have been she asked to be dropped off. Maybe, I don't know. This was also in Nebraska in August. I would just assume that it's going to be fairly, I don't know, how hot would anybody in that area, what would the temperatures be like? Maybe it was a nice night and she wanted to just walk part way. Maybe there was a store or a restaurant or a convenience store, maybe that she wanted to stop at, and she said, "Hey, drop me off here, and I can walk the rest of the way home." I don't know, but that is a good question. I wonder that too. Because it didn't say anything about them. Like I said, limited information. The Charlie Project information in this article from lostandfound.org was the only thing that I could find in my research searching on Google. It didn't say anything about them having an argument or a fight or anything, and that's the reason that she may have gotten out of the car. So I don't know, but a very good question. Miss Paula wants to know any suspects not that I could find mentioned anywhere. You mean, like I said, obviously they're gonna. They said that they did look at the boy that she was with, went on the date with. Let me find it. It says he was questioned, but no evidence directly linked him to her disappearance. So apparently, nothing. Either they didn't find anything really. They weren't suspicious of him because law enforcement works a lot on gut instinct, along with evidence and whatever. So maybe they just didn't get a good instinct about him that he had anything to do with it, or if they did, a lot of times they will keep it to themselves. But you would think, in a case this cold, not from 1977, that if they did, you know if they think that he did have anything to do with it, either, I mean, it's probably, it's not what you know, it's not what you know, it's what you can prove, is what they say. So, um, but it could, but unfortunately in this case, like I said, it could be anybody. It could have been him. Could I mean, maybe so, maybe not. Could have been somebody that just somebody, a predator out hunting, that a crime of opportunity. That's what I'm trying to say. Crime of opportunity. Could have been someone from the community that she either knew or kind of knew. We just don't know, unfortunately. Um, Chris says on the first case, should the acquaintance be looked at? Oh, yeah. He's the yeah the are you Chris? Are you talking about the boy she was out on the date with? Yeah, they're obviously going to look at him. Absolutely. That's also a good question. Josh says, I wonder if her family knew about the date prior to the note. Hold on. What note? Hold on. Was there a note? Was there a note? I've already forgotten what I read. Um, or I don't know. Josh probably found more some information that I was not able to find. Um, what note are you talking about? I don't remember reading anything about a note. But then again, it's been 5 minutes since I read it, so I probably forgot. Yeah, Mustang says suspicious. Absolutely. Um, Stormy wants to know, yeah, it's fine, you're not interrupting. Do you have the flyer for the missing nonverbal child Parker in Canada? I've seen it. I can't remember if it was on YouTube or Facebook. I don't have it. I don't think I have it downloaded. Um, but I do remember I've seen it or seen something, a picture of him with the information. Um, Stormy says he's been missing for 5 days in hot, stormy weather. Mm, excuse me. Yeah, Mustang says praying he is found safe. Josh, Josh is always good at finding the information. Josh says Margie's or Margaret's dental records were compared to a woman who is GSW'd in the head and found in a utility hole in 1984. I think they determined it was not her. Okay, thank you for that. I think Stormy. I think Mustang was saying because she has the praying hand. She's praying that they find him safe. That's another good question. Josh says, I wonder how late into the night Margaret was dropped off. I don't know. It didn't say. And once again, in what I was able to find, it just says that at some point after the date, she was dropped off near her house. And then after that, after the boyfriend or the date, I guess not necessarily boyfriend, after the date, he said, he dropped her off near her house. After that, she was never seen again, but I couldn't find any time frame. Um, it just said, well, now in the details from the Charlie Project, it said that she left her residence. I'm assuming to go to the date. Left her residence at around 9:30 p.m. So she didn't leave to go on this date until around 9:30 p.m. I mean, I don't know how long the date lasted, but I would say anywhere between midnight or so, maybe later. Like I said, it didn't say how long they were on the date, but it does say that she left the house, and I'm just assuming that's when she was going to go to the date. I don't know if the boy, um, oh, well, okay, there's the note. Okay. Like I said, I forgot. So she left a note saying she was going on the date with the boy she had met recently. So if she didn't leave the house till 9:30 p.m., I'm going to assume it was fairly late at night, early morning, depending on what all the date entailed. But that's another good question. Um, yeah, sorry. Yeah, I forgot that yeah, like I said, I read it, the information, 5 minutes ago, and then I forget what I read. Uh, Josh says, I'm assuming you were talking about the note, says if that's true, I suppose she wasn't necessarily trying to keep it secret. You're welcome, Arthuritis. Okay, welcome. Um, okay, Stormy says, I've got all the info about Parker on my channel and post. Excellent. I will share them. Absolutely. That's another, that is a good point. Josh says if she left on her own to go on the date, perhaps she didn't want the date to know exactly where she lived. That is a good point, especially if they had, because it did say that they had recently met. So yeah, I mean, you know, sure, this day and age, I would somebody that I just met, I really wouldn't want them to know exactly where I lived until I got to know them a little better. But yeah, that's definitely a good possibility. Um, sorry, my computer keeps. Oh, I forgot to check the battery. It's good. Okay. All right. I think I'm caught up. So we will move to the next one. Ooh, my phone's getting hot. So this should be Jason Anthony Jokowski. So Jason has been missing since June 13th, 2001. He was just 19 years old when he went missing. He will be 45 years old as of 2026. When he went missing, he was 6 foot 1 inches tall, 160 pounds, and he's a white male with brown hair and brown eyes. Um, Last known clothing is a white Chicago Cubs or Sammy Sosa T-shirt, a blue or black Chicago Cubs baseball cap, black dress pants, and black dress shoes. It says that Jason has learning disabilities related to speech and languages. The disabilities may make him appear to be mildly mentally disabled, but he is actually of above average intelligence. And his nickname is JJ. So Jason was called into work early on June 13th, 2001. He worked at a Fazoli's restaurant on 80th and Cass Streets in his hometown of Omaha. His car was in the shop for repairs, and he initially said that he would walk, but then he called back and he made arrangements for a coworker to actually pick him up at his old school, which was Benson High School, which was 8 blocks from his home. So Jason carried his red work T-shirt with him at the time of his disappearance. On the way out of the door of his family's residence, he decided to help his younger brother take the trash cans out into the garage. A neighbor did see him carry the trash cans into the garage at his house, which was in the area of 48th and Bedford Streets, and this was around 10:45 a.m. So between 11:15 and 11:30 a.m., Jason's coworker called his house, the family residence, to find out why Jason had not met her at the high school. Now I don't know why. Maybe it was kind of the halfway point of the high school between where she was and where where he lived. Maybe is why they met and why she didn't actually come pick him up at the residence. So this is when his disappearance was discovered. A later check of security cameras at Benson High School showed that he never arrived on the campus of the high school. So evidently, now I don't know how many security cameras. Now this is 2001, so there's probably going to be more security cameras than our last case, which is 1977. So he either didn't show up, most likely didn't make it to the high school, or he just wasn't caught on camera. Um, okay, I lost my place. So Jason, after that, Jason has never been seen or heard from again. He left around $650 behind in his bank account, which has not been touched since his disappearance. He has not cashed any of his paychecks, used his cell phone or his ATM card, or picked up his car from the auto repair shop since his disappearance. Jason was supposed to start a new job a week after he vanished. He was apparently excited about this new job. He never showed up to begin work there. It says that he had no more than $60 on him on the day that he disappeared. No personal items were missing from his room. It says he did do the household chores as usual up until the day that he disappeared. Jason's loved ones do suspect foul play may have been involved in his disappearance. They say that he is just was too responsible to have left without warning. He was not having any problems at the time of his disappearance. He is described as a shy person. He was not involved with any illegal substances or alcohol. He was close to his family. He had no known enemies at the time. He was born in Grand Island, Nebraska. At the time of his disappearance, he was attending community college part time and had gotten into the radio broadcasting program. His mother founded Project Jason, which is a nonprofit organization dedicated to assisting the families of missing people and publicizing missing persons cases after Jason vanished, and his case remains unsolved. So, if you do have any information, once again, contact the Omaha PD at 402-444-5657. And I was able for Jason's case to find a pretty lengthy, and I'm just going to use excerpts from it because I couldn't type out the whole thing, but just key points. This is from voiceofomaha.com. It's from June of 2021. So he went missing in what, 2001, about 20 years after he disappeared. So it says the last time that Kelly Murphy saw her son Jason, they were at supper with other family members playing a game. Kelly, who's his mom, once again said, quote, "We really didn't have a name for this game, but it was kind of a who lasts first game. You would say one word. It was usually something silly. You would just see who would start laughing first." And he, talking about Jason, was the one who always lost. She said, "We knew he had the tendency to start giggling," end quote. See, that would be me. Because in any kind of game like that with crazy words or crazy sounds, my juvenile humor comes out, and I start laughing. Anyway, so she says that happy moment was Kelly's last memory of her son. The next day, the 19-year-old walked away from his home to catch a ride with a coworker to his restaurant job, but he never arrived at their meeting place. No one has reported seeing Jason in the 20 years since, and police have not had any significant leads in the case, according to his father, Jim. The family, meanwhile, has been left in a nightmarish limbo, not knowing what happened to Jason, but they still cling to hope. Murphy, I think when it says Murphy, I think it's his dad, Jim. His dad says, quote, hope is your right until you know the truth, end quote. So his dad, who now lives in Eastern Washington State, that statement is one, or maybe it's his mom. It says that statement is one that she keeps going back to. It's become one of her sayings, according to a telephone interview that she did. She said, quote, "Some people try to take hope away from you. They think, well, you should be over that by now. You should be back to normal." And to me, that is one of the cruelest things that you could say to somebody who has either lost a loved one who you know for sure has passed away, no matter what the situation is, or if you have a missing loved one, it's just, hey, you got to get over it. You got to get back to normal. Doesn't matter how much time goes by. Nothing is ever truly normal again when you lose somebody, no matter if it's to a violent crime or a missing loved one or just somebody who passes, just naturally. You just, you go day by day by day. Um, So Jason's father, Jim, said, quote, "My hope is that we find the answer we need." While at a remembrance service for Jason at Roberts Skate Park in Omaha, where a tree was planted in his honor. His father said, quote, "Hopefully we'd have a reunion. Until we have a reason to believe that's not the case, that is our hope," end quote. Jason's brother Michael also went to the remembrance service with his wife Bridget and their sons, who were 3 and 2 at the time. Michael, his brother, was just 13 when Jason disappeared. He and a neighbor were the last people to have reported seeing Jason as he hauled the family's trash bins back to their garage before he walked away from the house. Michael said that he is sad that there's been no information on Jason's whereabouts for 20 years. So now it's been, what, 20, 25 years now. We're in 2026 as we're doing this live stream. But he knows the family will eventually get their answer. He says, quote, "Whether it be in this life or in the afterlife, we will have an answer someday," end quote. So years ago, Kelly, his mom, learned a word for the family's suffering, which is ambiguous loss. So, ambiguous loss, she says, is a psychological term for the traumatic loss of a person or a relationship, but without the possibility of closure or a clear way to grieve. So, I've never heard it. I don't think I've ever heard ambiguous loss, but it does make sense, obviously. She says, quote, "In the case of missing persons, you don't know if they're going to magically show up tomorrow or next week or next month or next year. It's kind of like this limbo of not knowing. If somebody passes away, you know that they're deceased, you know that they're buried, you know where they are. If you want to visit the grave, it's sad, it's hard, but you know what happened and you know that they're not coming back. But when someone is missing, you don't know. We don't know, is he alive? So with ambiguous loss, you can't go through all the normal grieving motions because you don't know what you're grieving for, so you're stuck," end quote. So in the days following Jason's disappearance, Kelly said that she just felt numb. She said, quote, "I remember sitting on the couch by the phone because I just kept hoping that the phone would ring. It was almost like I had to tell myself, you need to get up, you need to get something to eat, you need to take a shower, you just need to go to the bathroom. It's like you're in this alternative reality of disbelief that this horrible thing is happening," end quote. And it just breaks my heart reading this. So her advocacy started with getting a law passed in Nebraska to set up a state database of missing persons. And so this was what I mentioned earlier in the Charlie's Project, Jason's Law. So Kelly said that she was not comfortable speaking before legislators, but she said, quote, "But I felt like I had to do it for Jason. I had to do it for all the other missing people in Nebraska and people who would become missing," end quote. So that effort took 2 or 3 years, according to her. And meanwhile, she said she felt called to do more. That's when the idea for a nonprofit organization to help families of missing persons took shape. She said that she didn't know anything about starting a nonprofit, but she spent a summer reading up on it and developing, what exactly her organization would do. So for years, she said it helped thousands of families take steps to help find their loved ones, including making missing persons posters and advising them on what she considered the technical aspects of locating people. She says, quote, "But still something was missing. And I realized many years later that there's no training anywhere for helping these people learn to cope." And that is so true. So she goes on to say, "So I came up with this idea of doing a teaching retreat where we would actually bring these families together and teach them. That was something I was really proud of. It was like now I'm making people's lives better. I'm not necessarily solving their case, but I'm helping them live a more normal life. I felt God showed me the way," end quote. So Kelly said her prayers for Jason have changed over the years. She said, quote, "At first, I would pray that he would magically appear on the doorstep and have some explanation that made some sort of sense as to what had happened. The prayers were, first they were bring him home, then bring him home alive. But over time, it was a fairly long period of time. The prayers became different because I think I accepted that this was the reality as hard as it was. Then it became, if it's your will, bring him home. Then later it became, if it's your will, give us the answer, no matter what the answer is, end quote. So yeah, it's just, and I think that's true. And I think that's part of the was it the 7 steps of grieving. Because because my dad passed away, about 20 years ago now in a car accident, and of course we all went through the grieving process, and you still do. Like I said, it doesn't matter what the circumstances. If you lose a loved one, nothing is ever going to be the same again. But yeah, I went through the stages of, any minute he's going to walk in the door, you know, I say fortunately, we knew what happened to him. We knew we could go visit his grave, but you still ask why. Why did this happen? So I can definitely understand uh, where Jason's mom is coming from. Um, so Michael, his brother, said that he thinks about his brother and prays for him regularly, especially when the family marks the big moments like birthdays, anniversaries, baptisms. Jason's father, Jim, said that his prayers have been steady over the years. So his dad said, quote, I just want an answer. It's not about me. I'm just concerned about Jason's welfare and that of other missing persons and their families, end quote. So Jason's family said that it seems unreal that he has been gone for so long. His mom said, quote, I still believe somewhere there's somebody who knows something, and either they don't realize what they know or they're afraid to come forward, end quote. So yeah, it's just, this is such a weird one. I don't know. I mean, you guys, I'm sure you put it in chat. Once again, if you're watching replay, please leave a comment um, leave a comment in the comments, obviously. Um, I mean, he's just seemingly one of these cases, although we know it can't happen, just vanished into thin air. He was helping his brother do chores, take out the trash, and then bring the trash cans back in. He was going to walk down to the high school and catch a ride with one of his friends to work, and apparently didn't make it to the high school. I mean, they said he was, a good kid, very reliable, didn't have any substance abuse or alcohol problems, said he was really shy. So I don't know. This one has me confounded. So, I really don't get, and we don't like to use the term runaway, or I don't anyway. Runaway, he doesn't seem like the kind that would leave voluntarily. I mean, I don't know. I don't know for sure. That's just my opinion. So I don't know. This one, it has said he had no known enemies. Now that doesn't necessarily mean that he didn't have enemies or somebody that he possibly could have been having some kind of problem with, that could have possibly, maybe he did one scenario. Maybe he did was having a problem with somebody, um, either at work or said he was going to, I think, a community college part time, and that if he was walking, or I'm assuming he was walking to the high school and came across maybe a person he was having a problem with, and what started out as an argument or a simple like fist fight or something turned into something worse. And just, but I don't know. I just, to me, that doesn't, I don't get that feeling either. So I don't know. Was it a crime of opportunity? Just somebody coming because he was, how old was he? I know he was a teenager, 19. I mean, when you think of somebody, especially males, just statistic wise, if a male is snatched off the street, it's most likely a young one, preteen or younger. So I don't know. This one just has me confounded. But anyway, y'all let me know. Obviously, what you guys think. So let me get back down into your comments. Ooh, my phone's getting hot. Um, let me get back down to where I was. Um, Goodness, lots of comments. Hold on, I think I remember to mark where I left off. I just have to find it. Oh, there it is. Oh, there's Miss Z. Miss Z made it. Hello, Miss Z. Please check out Trial Junkies United. Z and Doc and Moo the Cat do wonderful work over on their channel on MMIP cases, injustice cases. Very, very good work. I highly recommend. Highly recommend. Is that what all they say? I highly recommend. Thank you, thank you. Yes, everybody, don't forget to hit the thumbs up. It does make a difference, supposedly, in the algorithm. Really, Josh says that Jason's case was featured on the. I remember that show, the Montel Williams show in November of 2004. Wonder what happened to Montel Williams. I used to watch his show all the time back in the day. That's interesting. Um, Thank you very much. Mustang is getting in links. There's a link to Trial Junkies United. They do lives Thursday nights and Sunday nights, 8 p.m. Central. So please do check them out. Thursday nights is, make sure I got it right. Ms. Z will correct me, rightfully so if I'm wrong. I believe they do their Indigenous MMIP cases on Thursdays. And those Sundays, it's just whatever. Whatever. Always important. And I don't say whatever flippantly. Always an important case or topic, whatever it may be. Um, Let me see. Yes, Stormy said hello to Moo and to Doc. Missing, yep. Can't forget Doc and Moo. Um, oh, did you have another migraine? Thank God I don't have. God bless anybody who suffers, and I know Miss Z does suffer with migraines. God bless you. I can just get a really really bad, not necessarily a migraine, but just a really really bad headache, and it'll put me in bed all day. So I can just imagine how bad an actual migraine is. Um, oh, Z says Doc got yelled at from Moo when I had my migraine. She told Daddy I needed an ice pack. Oh, yeah. Cats will definitely let you know, and cats, animals in general, know when something's wrong. Absolutely. Okay, Josh says bullying is such a something he can't say the words on YouTube. I agree. I agree. Um, yeah. Z says if you're doing your chores and acting normal, that does not sound like a young man that ran away. That is not good. Yeah, see that. Yeah, everything that was said, about him being very reliable, very, no problems with, substances, alcohol, no known enemies, very reliable. He had a job. He was going to college, community college part time. Yeah, I just I don't get the runaway vibe either. Stormy says she's here listening. Josh says his work was 4 miles away. Yeah, his car was in the shop. He started taking long walks. Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, I would like to know, which I didn't find the distance, how far it was from his house, because he was going to walk from his house to the high school, his former high school that he went to, and that's where he was going to meet a friend or coworker who was going to drive him the rest of the way to where he was working at, which was what did I say? It was a Fazoli's, some kind of restaurant. But yeah, it would be interesting. Josh says, I wonder if he's meeting someone along the way or taking a pit stop at a halfway point. That is a good question because, yeah, evidently, like I said, that the security cameras at the school, or he was not picked up on any of the security cameras at the school. So that's why they think, or, reasonably sure that he did not even make it to the school, to the meeting place. Um, that's a good point too. Z says, sometimes they use a girl as bait so they can get to a guy. I hope this isn't what this is. Yeah. And it said who, let me see. Let me find it. Oh, I'm down to a totally different case. Um, I believe it said it was a she, yeah, that picked him up. Um, let me find it again. Goodness gracious. Probably at the beginning. So it was a coworker. So it says at first, so his car was in the shop for repairs, like Josh said. He initially said that he was going to walk all the way to work, but then he called back and made arrangements for a coworker to pick him up at his old high school, 8 blocks from. Okay, so the high school was 8 blocks from his home, so that's not too terribly long or far. I can't talk right. Can't use my words tonight. Um, I mean, I don't know. I might could walk 8 blocks. Um, yeah, but I think it said it was a she that was going to pick him up, a coworker. So yeah, that possibility. Okay, so Josh says Jason hung out with an older former coworker at the time, and SOs were interviewed in the nearby area. Okay, yeah, going back to what people say, or when I was reading the article about, people say you gotta get over it, you gotta move on. No, Z says you never get over it. That is just cruel. Your normal is gone. Absolutely, absolutely. Like I said, if you just lose a family member, like I said, from an accident or just a natural passing, your life as you knew it is never normal again. You adjust. You deal with it how, and everybody deals with losing a loved one differently, obviously, but yeah, nothing is ever, you get a new normal or whatever, however you want to say it. But your life is definitely different. Um, Mustang was no Paula's still here. She's probably here somewhere. Yeah, Mustang says the not knowing has to be hell. Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I'll get into, I won't say a full fledged panic, but I mean I could, if I depending on if I know if they're at work or if they're home or what they may be doing, if I text one of my family members and if they don't text me back in a certain amount of time, I start to. That's just probably my neurosis, whatever, my anxiety. But yeah, if I know that they're probably not working or not busy, and they don't text me back in a certain amount of time, I get anxious, and I'm like, okay, did something happen? Is everything okay? So yeah, I mean, the not knowing, going through having somebody, um, God forbid, thankfully I've never had a family member or close friend that has gone missing, but I can't imagine, cannot imagine going years and years and years with just not knowing. Um, really? So Josh says Ellie apparently served a search warrant for an SO's house in the area. Interesting. Wonder if they found anything. Oh, Josh says that came from Reddit, so take that with a grain of salt. Which, I mean, that's not really that far fetched. I mean, but I mean, they have to have probable. I mean, if it's true, once again from Reddit, but if it's true, they have to have enough probable cause to get a search warrant to search somebody's house. So, I mean, if that's true, apparently they had enough, or a judge thought that they had enough probable cause to issue a search warrant. So that is interesting. Um, yeah, as he says with Reddit, you aren't sure what to believe. So I know, telling you Reddit, good lord, when I've researched cases, and not even, well, with some of the true crime cases, of course, I don't think I've ever used anything from Reddit. for one of my cases that I'm talking about. But even just like looking into, because I like to go down rabbit holes with like conspiracy theories and things like that, for relaxation and for entertainment value sometimes. But yeah, some things will pop up on Reddit. I'm like, really? I mean, even for a conspiracy theory, that's kind of way out there. Anyway, yeah, Reddit, you had to be careful with Reddit. So Josh says, Josh's work was an was an establishment called the River. The Reddit thread has people claiming to have known Jason. Said he was a DJ also until late at night. Yeah, it mentioned, I think, in the that at the community college that he had gotten into the radio broadcast program. Um, so they repeat that he was super responsible. Yeah, see, that's what I'm getting is that everything, all the information that I was able to find, said the same thing. He was responsible. He didn't have any, problem, wasn't a problem child. As we said back in the day, you weren't a problem child. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Thank you, Miss Thing. I appreciate that. Absolutely. Thank you, Josh. Oop. Um, yeah, never gets it. I'll say it never gets easier. Somewhat get when you lose somebody, I don't know if you call it easier or if you just get, I don't know how to put it. You just kind of get used to the idea. Like once again, your normal has changed. You have a new normal when you lose a loved one, especially if it's unexpected. I mean, not saying that if somebody passes, it's kind of expected. Like if they're getting older, if they have health problems. But yeah, if it's unexpected, it's just still it's hard. It's hard, but I appreciate you guys. Yes. Z says runaway is the dirty word. I agree. I agree. And yes, some do run away, and usually the ones that quote unquote run away, they're found, thankfully, within a few hours. It's usually they get what I call we consider a quote unquote runaway. Is you get into an argument with your parents and you just go out. You leave the house. I'm never coming back. You know how teenagers, kids are. And you go to a friend's house or you go hang out at the park or whatever your hangout spot is. And you either come home within a few hours or you're found, your parents find you or whoever finds you in a few hours. That's what I consider the quote unquote runaway. Thankfully, that is for most cases, that's how it turns out. Now, there are exceptions, obviously, but yeah, I don't like the word runaway. Um, So Josh says, but he was aware of it. Aware of what? He was aware of it and would walk around troubled neighborhood. So Jason would walk around. Okay, so you said he earlier that he liked to take long walks, and he would walk around troubled. I'm, I'm assuming when you say troubled, some not so nice neighborhoods. So that is worrisome. Yeah. So I don't know what kind of. I'm assuming he live. I'm just assuming. I don't like to assume, but let's see, it was 8 blocks that he walked from his home to the high school. So that conceivably, walking 8 blocks, you could walk into a different neighborhood that might not be so safe to walk through. Possible something happened, but I mean, they've never found any, which also is not unusual. I mean, you could easily, unfortunately, do something bad to somebody, throw them in a vehicle, and I try to say things without being. I'm not being trying to be disrespectful. Do something to somebody and dump their body somewhere and just they're never found. But I don't know that's a good possibility. I mean, I'm just at a loss with this one. With you know, Z says maybe he saw something he shouldn't have seen. I wonder what crimes happened around then. Absolutely, that is a good point. Yep. Oh, Yeah, good thing to look into. Josh says apparently he was shy until he got on the radio. His personality came out while he was DJing. Yeah, yeah, that makes sense because I mean, you guys probably wouldn't think that in real life I'm an introvert. I've always been shy. Um, but now I can get on here all night long and just talk away and blab away. Um, but I guess it's because I mean I know you guys out there that are watching and listening are real, obviously, but it's just different when it's you're not actually like standing in front of you know in front of people that are right there in front of you, if you know what I mean. Anyway, yeah, Josh says my heart is feeling it so much for Jason. I know. Um, really. We were talking about Montel Williams earlier. Z says Montel has MS. Man, that's not good. He's got to be up there in age now because I mean, like I said, it was probably what the 80s, 90s that he was on TV in his heyday. Not saying no, I put that wrong. I know he wasn't in his 80s or 90s. He was doing like the 1980s, 1990s around there that he was in his heyday with his television show. That's a very excellent point. Stormy says, I don't like runaway either. It's stigmatized. What if they were running away from a dangerous home? Absolutely. And it's like Ms. Z says, sometimes people do leave voluntarily, but then after they leave voluntarily, they find themselves in a bad situation that they can't get out of, that's out of their control. And then that's when bad things happen. So, absolutely. Um, Yeah, Stormy says, not the I'm mad at my mom, so I'm running away. See that yeah, that's what I don't know how many times I said I was going to quote unquote run away back when I was a kid or preteen, not so much when I was a teenager, but and I didn't really, I mean, I didn't really get into a lot of arguments with my parents, but I'm like, I'm mad, I'm running away. And what would moms always say? Put it in chat by the time I get down there. If you're my age, if you grew up in the 70s, 80s, what would mom always say when you said I'm running away? Put it in chat. See if it's what I'm thinking. That every mom says. Mustang says she ran away a lot as a kid. Yeah. Oh goodness. Oh goodness. I'm a little bit behind. Echoes is in the house. Apparently he is bored. Hello, Bubba dear. How are you doing? Echoes is in the house unless somebody's put him in timeout already. Josh says yep, on YouTube apparently. What's on YouTube? Can I share a link to hear his voice? Yeah, you can share links. Yeah, you should be able to put a link. You got a ranch, absolutely. That's it. Z already got to it before I even said. Z says I was going to run away one time when I was about 5 when my mom started to help me pack. Yep, that was the first thing. I don't know if it was just 70s and 80s moms. Yeah, but maybe once or twice said I'm running away. And mom's like, okay, I'll help you pack. The standard answer. Echoes is waving at everybody. Josh says Jason, his radio show was for Iowa Western Community College. So that must have been where he was going to. Because in the Charlie Project, it just said he was going part time to a community college. Is this our JP or a different JP? We have a JP's Case Archive. Welcome, welcome. Good to see you. I don't know if it's our music JP or a different JP, but regardless, we're glad to have you here. Um, I'm assuming it's our JP. Okay. Of course. Echo says, I tried to get my sister to run away, but it never worked. No, we would. I think the furthest I ever run away was down in the woods, down to the woods, running away down to the woods. Not even a mile away. What, maybe half a mile, if that. That was our play. We played in the woods. Just when you grow up on a farm with as much, as much room as we had to do whatever out here, uh, there's no reason to run. You could run away, go, 100 yards and be in the woods. That was our running away. Oh, goodness. Hey, Julie, good to see you. Haven't seen you in a while. I'm glad to see you back. Um, oh, it must be our. Did you change your name again? JP, I need him to come up. There he is. Says my mix crashed today. What today? I'm assuming you were mixing music. If you don't quit changing, I'm kidding. Let me see. Josh says my aunt used to live near Iowa Western. It's possible, though I don't remember that I went to an event there as a kid. Um, Trying to get caught up, and then we will get to the next one. Um, you can do it, JP. JP said I just need a breather and a retry. Absolutely. Take a break. Take a load off. Z says, was the older coworker male or female? Now, the way it's worded from the trolley project, and I don't know if, because Josh mentioned that Jason was friends with an older either coworker or former coworker, but I think the coworker that was going to pick him up that day, it says she, according to the Charlie Project information. Now, I don't know if that's the same older coworker that Josh was talking about that Jason hung out with. Thank you, JP. JP says shared. Thank you very much, sir. See you around. I'm in the middle of yard work. Don't get too hot, JP. You doing yard work well, I guess that would be a good time to do it. Can you see what you're doing? I don't know what time zone you're in. I'm in Central. It's 9:30 here. I guess it's better if it were depending on how hot it is where you're at. It's better to do yard work at night than when during the day when it's 100 degrees. Yeah, Mustang says don't get too hot. Most definitely. Um, so Josh says it seems that there are mentions his older coworker was a female, but I couldn't get a clear answer on that. Well, that's a good point. Z says, oh, I wonder how much older could we have a situation there was a crush, and if it was a she that a significant other that got jealous, that's a thought. What about a hit and run and they took the body? Yeah, all possibilities. Like I said, this one has me confounded. I don't know. Oh, I'm okay. I'm sorry, I missed that comment. So, Josh says, you missed my comment before. Troubled neighborhoods about locals saying that at the time there were reports of kids jumping other kids. Again, according to Reddit, so that could be a possibility. Possibility that yeah, maybe like I said, he didn't necessarily have any known enemies, but I mean, yeah, kids jumping kids. That's just kind of random a lot in neighborhoods. It's possible that it turned into something really, really bad, and they did do something. If it went that far, really, really bad, that that's why he's not been found. Um, Yeah, Josh says now that is in his thoughts. Yep. Montel is 70. Wow. He's only 5 years younger than my mom. Um, yeah, I'm going to the hit and run. Yeah, Z says, think about it. You hit someone and you want to cover up what happened. Absolutely. You panic. You panic. You just, yeah. Even if it, yeah, because a lot of times, unfortunately, even if it was just truly an accident and not on purpose, for some reason, people just panic and just, I can't, I gotta cover it up. I gotta cover it up. It happens more than people would think. Um, Z says, I would either make a great detective or criminal. Doc isn't sure which. Oh, goodness. I can see you go either way. Either way. Oh, goodness. Yeah, Mustang says she didn't realize Montel was 70. I didn't either. I was thinking maybe in his early to mid 60s, maybe, if that. Maybe late 50s. Anyway, God, it makes me feel old. Um, okay, so there's the link that Josh was talking about. It says to hear a portion of Jason's voice on his radio program at, I'm assuming you meant 2 minutes, 14 seconds. Excellent. Thank you, Josh. Um, oh, Josh is making faces at me. Oh, Josh says his research skills are being hampered by a playful and persistent. Oh, I thought you said 113. 13 pounds short. Isn't 13 pounds big for a Chihuahua? I don't know, unless you got a little fatty Chihuahua. You got a little pudgy Chihuahua. All right, I'm caught up. Okay, so I will mark right there. We'll see who we have next. This should be, who should it be? Rhonda Gale Sansovich. Please let me know if that's the right one because the timer thing on StreamYard has her name covered up. So this should be Rhonda Gale Sansovich. Oh, do y'all have the grandbaby? Echo says he got distracted by a cute granddaughter. Give the baby a hug and a kiss and everything else for me. Yeah, Z says that is a great distraction. Yeah, she's so cute. Oh my God, she's so cute. Anyway, now I'm getting distracted. I'm getting distracted by Echo's distraction of the cute baby. All right, so this is Rhonda Gale Sansovich. Oh, just on FaceTime. Hey, that's better than nothing. Uh, Echo says he's on FaceTime with the grandbaby. All right, so Rhonda has been missing since March 7th, 1988, the year before I graduated. She's a white female. She was 26 years old when she went missing. She'll be 64 years old as of 2026. When she went missing, she was 5 foot 5 inches tall, 130 pounds, with brown hair and hazel eyes. It says that she does have a history of substance and alcohol abuse. She is missing two teeth. She has a small scar on her abdomen near her navel. She has the following tattoos. She has a butterfly on her shoulder, the name Wayne, Wayne, on her abdomen, and roses on her chest. So Rhonda was last seen outside a tavern, actually in Veneta, Oregon, in early March of 1988. So this is one we could have a possible I thought about possibility of what could have happened. So she reportedly got into a red semi truck. She was hitchhiking with truck drivers to her boyfriend's home in Palmdale, California. Apparently, he had recently gotten a six-figure settlement on something and had promised to buy her a new house and a car with the money. So after she left, she did call her mother from Seattle, Washington, and then from the Dalles. I'm assuming I'm pronouncing that right. Dalles, Oregon. The Dalles or the Dalles. And this was on or about March 7th. She sent her mother a letter postmarked from Omaha saying that she expected to arrive at her boyfriend's house in no more than 2 days. It says that she may have been riding in a black Kenworth semi truck at the time. She never arrived in Palmdale. And 2 weeks later, the boyfriend called her mother, called Rhonda's mother in Elmira, Oregon, to ask where she was. So the letter from Omaha was the last contact with her family. She has never been seen or heard from after that. Prior to her disappearance, Rhonda had contact with police because of her substance use, and she had also received food stamps. And since March of 1988, she has not had any encounters with police since then. She's never um, received any more benefits anywhere because I believe they do keep track of that. She did not have a car or driver's license at the time of her disappearance. It says her boyfriend was cooperative with the investigation. He was interviewed by police, but it says due to a traumatic head injury, he was confused and possibly delusional. So I don't know what he said during this interview. If maybe he said something that might have made the police think that she actually did make it to California. Was it, yeah, Palmdale, California? And then maybe the boyfriend says something that maybe he had something to do with it, but then maybe not because I said he had some kind of dramatic head injury, was confused and possibly delusional. So it would be very interesting to know what the boyfriend said during the interview. So in 1997, investigators reclassified her case from just a missing persons case to a probable homicide, stating that there was no evidence she was still alive. Now, that may not necessarily mean they had found any kind of evidence to suggest that she was deceased, but it's just that they had so little evidence that, you don't have any kind of evidence either way to prove that she is alive or that she's not alive. So her disappearance does remain unsolved. It says Lane County, Oregon police are investigating. So if you do have any information, call the Lane County Sheriff's Office at 541-682-4167. And unfortunately, for Rhonda's case, I was not able to find any other, except for this basic information. I think she was on NamUs. There was a couple of just little uh, small articles that I did find, but it was just, once again, basic information. Same thing, Charlie Project. Couldn't find any interviews with law enforcement who had worked on the case, family members, the boyfriend, any statements from her mom or the boyfriend or whatever the case. So unfortunately, that is all we have to go on, but it is better than nothing. So a possibility, because whenever because everybody know, or most people know of, Dave, our friend Dave out on the prowl, um, with, and we're not saying all truck drivers are, serial offenders, but there are a lot of serial offenders that happen to be truck drivers, because if you look at it, it's the perfect cover. I mean. So, I mean, is it a possibility that she got into the wrong truck with the wrong truck driver that happened to be a predator, a bad guy, and something happened? That would be my first, or that would be at the top of my list for possibilities, is that she just got into the wrong truck with the wrong driver and something bad happened. Or um, she, she did get a ride from a, nobody from a driver that meant her no harm and did drop her off somewhere, and something bad happened after that. Did she leave voluntarily? I mean, there's no, aside from it says she did have had a history of substance and alcohol abuse. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna leave for any reason. Doesn't mean that you won't. I mean, but I don't know. I just don't get the vibe. Once again, this is just my opinion. I don't know for sure, obviously. I just don't get the vibe that she would leave voluntarily. I mean, especially if I want to know more about the boyfriend and the traumatic head injury and what he said to the police, that he was confused and possibly delusional. But apparently, it said that he had promised he had come into this six. I wonder. So it said he had recently gotten a six-figure settlement. I wonder if he got into some kind of accident that caused the traumatic head injury, and that's what the settlement was for. Because it said that he got a six-figure settlement. He had promised to buy her a new house and a car with some of the settlement money. So it's possible he got into some kind of either vehicle accident on the job, that caused the traumatic head brain injury, and that's what he got the settlement from. I don't know. Now I'm going to go down a whole rabbit hole, but anyway, that would make sense, though. I mean, in my mind, absolutely. Let me know what you guys think, because you guys know how my mind works. So, works or doesn't work a lot of the time, but that would make sense, or to me, it would. A possibility. Let me see what you guys have got to say. Um, I can't remember if I left off. Oh, people have popped in since okay. That was the last comment. I mean, I remember reading from Echoes. I can never spell it right. Josh says, "Is it bad that a librarian has to Google Chihuahua to copy and paste it, as I always misspell it?" I just call them the little yappers. Little yappers. That's all they are. No, I love all animals, but I don't know. When we were, I don't know if Echoes is still here. Remember Aunt Pat? Aunt Pat and Uncle Sugar had a Chihuahua. They're just a little yapper. Little yappers. No, I love all animals for the most part. Spiders, not so much. Hey, Butterfly Kisses. Good to see you. You snuck in on me. Haven't seen you in a while. It's good to see you here. Somebody else I saw snuck in. Um, Miss Z was thinking like I was. I don't know if that's good or what does Doc say about that? That me and Z are thinking the same way. Z says, don't like the sound of that hitchhiking with truck drivers back in 1988. Prime serial deleter time. Absolutely. That's the first thing that popped in my head. Like I said, when I look at any case where the missing person was last seen getting into a truck with the truck driver, I always think serial offender. Once again, we're not saying that all truck drivers are serial offenders, but a lot of serial offenders are truck drivers. Anyway, see, I thought about that too. Z says it took the boyfriend 2 weeks for him to call her mother. Yeah, see, I thought about that too because in the let me find it again. In the letter that she sent her mother that was postmarked from Omaha, she said that she expected to arrive at her boyfriend's in no more than 2 days. So, and that was on or around March 7th is when this letter was sent, or when the mother received the letter. And so that is, I guess that, but her missing, well, according to Charlie Project, it might be different somewhere else. Her missing date is listed as March 7th, 1988. Now, that I would give or take on either side. I mean, because we don't have any official statements from law enforcement that I found of the actual date that she was reported missing. But yeah, it said the boyfriend called the mother to 2 weeks later. So I wonder, so surely if she sent a letter, I wonder why she didn't call. Why did she send the mom a letter instead of just picking up a phone? Because back then there were pay phones at least. Why didn't she call her mom and say, why does, I mean, I don't know. Back in the 80s, you did write letters, but you would think that just for a little, hey, I'm in Omaha. I expect to be at whatever the boyfriend's name is in 2 days. Why not pick up the phone and call? Why write a letter? So did she actually write the letter? Oh man, I'm going to go down so many rabbit holes now. So that would be a thought. Because my thought was, why didn't she pick up the phone and call? Why did she write a letter? Did she write the letter? Could the mother confirm? Now the mother could confirm whether or not it was her, as was the daughter's handwriting, because you're going to know your. I could tell you just about every member of my you know, what am I trying to say? If you put something that one of my family members wrote, I could tell you who wrote it just by looking at the handwriting. Immediate family. So that's interesting. Did the mother confirm? Now it looks like there could have been any information that I didn't find that the mother said, yeah, it was in her handwriting. Rabbit holes, rabbit holes. Yeah, still strange that. So did she send? My original thought before I got down the rabbit hole. Did she send a letter or call the boyfriend when she was in Omaha to let him know that she was going to be at his house, or in his house in 2 days? Or was it just the mother? And maybe he wasn't expecting her to be. That's the only reason I could think of that. It took him 2 weeks to call her mother to say, "Hey, where is she? Have you seen her?" Oh my God, so many rabbit holes. Jeez. Yeah, I want to know. Yeah, Z says interesting that the boyfriend was delusional. Yeah, that's the way apparently the law enforcement stated it. At least according to the Trolley Project. Now, Trolley Project is pretty much for the most part reliable. Now, they do get some facts wrong here and there, but yeah, they did say that. But I want to know what he said in the interview, because it says due to a traumatic head injury, he was confused and possibly delusional. So apparently that's why they didn't take anything he may have said in his interview as gospel truth. Mm, man, man, man. I want to be a fly on the wall. Um, I wonder that too. Z says, I wonder if one of these days they will do a DNA case of a Jane Doe and find her. Hopefully so, most likely. Either that, yeah, because usually we all know, or any of us, those of us who have been studying true crime for any amount of time, that's the first thing. When people go missing, unless they're found, within basically immediately, within a few days or weeks. If they're found years and years and years later, it's usually by a dog walker or they find the bones. Once again, I'm not being disrespectful saying that, but you find in these cold cases, that's what you're going to find by dog walkers, hikers, construction work, somebody that happens to just stumble across the remains and call the police. It's not. So hopefully, well, best case scenario obviously is she's alive and well somewhere, but we know for the most part in these cold cases that's usually not the case. Now, in some cases it is, but yeah, hopefully, um, it's a long money for long distance calls. Josh says, according to the register guard, Rhonda's boyfriend, who received a settlement for a head injury, so the settlement was for the head injury, was promising her a new car and a phone. She had a habit of $300 long distance calls. Man, that's a lot. I remember y'all. I don't know. See, you don't have. Well, I mean, you can. but the can't talk. The prevalence now of cell phones, you got a plan, you got unlimited minutes for the most part. But yeah, back then when you still had landlines and you called long distance, that stuff cost money. Yeah, so $300, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of long distance calling. Z says she's eating popcorn and my ADHD is catching up to my brain. Uh, let me see. Okay, so Josh says Rhonda's boyfriend apparently called her mom 2 weeks after she left for California and bluntly asked, "Where's your wayward daughter?" Oh my gosh. Can we attribute that to the traumatic brain injury or him just being a butt, for lack of a better word? Well, I could use a better word, but not on YouTube. So I wonder if his traumatic brain injury, maybe that had was part of the reason it took him 2 weeks to call. I don't know. I don't know. Oh, see, that's another thing too. Yeah, Mustang says another thing I did as a kid was hitchhiking. Yeah, back in the well, I mean, prevalent through the I don't know about the 50s, probably I don't know. Definitely 60s, 70s, 80s hitchhiking. Nobody thought twice about hitchhiking anywhere with anybody, even if they didn't know them. Hey, Avery, good to see you, my dear. Glad you could make it. Oh, so her sister. So Josh says Rhonda's sister loved her sister who was diagnosed with cerebral palsy. So Rhonda's sister was diagnosed with CP. Oh, bless her heart. Josh, where do you find all this information? Uh, if I could afford it, I would get. I think he uses what is it, newspapers.com a lot. You can usually find a lot on news, but you have to pay, and I can't afford it right now. Yeah, Z says so. She wouldn't just walk away. Yeah, I would think not. Um, sorry, I keep working on my phone here. Avery says her son has a Chihuahua, a little yapper. Man, I'm telling you, there's doing my Spark my grocery deliveries. There's one of my regular customers that I deliver to that has a Chihuahua, and it's usually outside when I deliver. And I swear she can when the car was still running. Of course, it didn't make noise. It was a Monster 3. But as soon as I pulled in, and it was a long driveway, as soon as I pulled in the driveway, the little Chihuahua would meet me at the car door, just like she was gonna take, or he or she, I don't know if it was a male or female, like she was gonna take my head off. I'm like, look, I'm just delivering groceries. I mean, I was never afraid of. She didn't ever lunge at me or try to bite me, but I guess she was just trying to intimidate me. So look, I'm just here to, and most of the time there was a dog food in the order. Like, look, I'm just bringing your food. So don't bite my ankle off. Anyway, yeah. Josh says her last communication, yeah, was the handwritten letter mailed from Omaha to her. I still don't understand writing the letter. Why not pick up a phone and call? Like I said, there were back in the 80s. There were payphones everywhere. She could. A lot of times, if you went to like a gas station or a convenience store, they might, unless like Josh said, the long distance charges. Maybe she didn't have I mean, because back then it cost what, a quarter? Did it even cost a quarter to use a payphone back in the 80s? I don't remember. Because she would have had to buy a stamp, but stamps were a lot cheaper then too back then than they are now. I just don't understand writing. That's what gets me. One of the things, writing the letter instead of just picking up the phone and say, "Hey, I'm in Omaha. I expect to be at boyfriend's house in 2 days, so I'll talk to you then or whatever." I just don't understand the letter. Um, yeah. See, that's what I wanted to know too. Yeah, so he said if she sent mom a letter, would she also have sent one to the boyfriend? That's what I was wondering. Absolutely. And maybe she did send. I mean, I wouldn't think it would take. I don't know. With the way the mail, the USPS runs nowadays, I could believe it would take 2 weeks to receive a letter. I don't know. It's been so long since I've written letters back when I had pen pals when I was a teenager. Would it? Maybe it took a week, 2 weeks for the letter to get to the boyfriend, and that's why it was 2 weeks before he called the mom. Said, "Hey, where's your kid? Where's your daughter?" Maybe that was the reason. I don't know. Um, Oh yeah, you could also call. Yeah, I forgot about that. You can call collect. Z says payphones if you don't have the money for talking, then you have to call collect. Maybe mom didn't have the money. Yeah, because you call collect and whoever you're calling agrees to pay the charges. Maybe the mom didn't have the money. But yeah, it's just weird. I don't know. It's just weird with the letter. That's just it bothers me for some reason. I can't get that out of my head. Um, Josh says Rhonda's mother believes she left from home, from home, from her home in a red semi truck that had been parked at Hack's Restaurant and Lounge in Veneta. Oh, that was in Oregon. Okay. So her mom lived in Oregon, right? Did the mom live in Oregon? Is that where? Okay, so Rhonda was last seen in the tavern in Veneta. I'm assuming I'm pronouncing that right if I spelled it right when I was typing it Veneta, Veneta, Oregon. She was reportedly got into a red semi truck. So where in Oregon did it say where in Oregon her mom lived? Um, I can't. I don't see it in the Trolley Project information. Interesting. Oh, sorry. Got it. Oh, geez, Louise. Sorry, I had the notification pop up. Yeah, that is a good point. Z says you're sitting in a truck for days, so I could see her writing a letter. Back in '88, they did more mail than calling. We are so used to cell phone these days. Yeah, 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 maybe that's what it was. Yeah, just if you're riding for days and days in the truck, you write a letter, and then they maybe he dropped her off in Omaha, or maybe they stopped in Omaha, and then that's when she mailed the letter. Excellent point. Josh says, as chaotic as her life was, her family says she never forgot to send decorated cards for birthdays or special days. Interesting. Yeah, there was something Z says, but wasn't something said about her being in a black Kenworth truck. I think her. Let me find it so I won't misquote. Um, I think her mom said. Hold on, let me find it. No, it didn't say. It just says, according to the Charlie Project, it says she may have been riding in a black Kenworth truck at the time. But then there was a mention of a red. Yeah, the truck that was mentioned that she got into at the tavern was reportedly a red semi truck. But then it says later on she may have been riding in a black Kenworth truck, so maybe she rode with more than one. Uh, Sorry, my wires are getting tangled up here. Maybe she rode with more than one truck driver is a possibility. Um, how is Josh finding all this? No, I appreciate Josh finding all this stuff. He says Rhonda's mother lamented, quote, I'm a little scared. I'm going to find out. I'm a little scared. I'm going to find out that she suffered. We just hope it was quick. Ooh, that doesn't sound good. Oh my goodness. No, it just shivers up my spine. I wonder if she's just saying if. I mean, let's just face it. Like I said, we're always hope for the best, but in cases like these, probably not the best outcome. I wonder if she's saying that maybe they got some information that because didn't it say yeah it was in 1997 her case was reclassified from missing to probable homicide. So maybe they found some kind of information maybe that kind of led them in that direction, or just due to the nature of her the way she disappeared that probably that was the outcome. Oh God, I just want to cry when I read that. I mean, because obviously no one if something's going to happen to your loved one, god forbid, you don't want them to suffer. You're always going to I've read in so many of these cases where uh, these unsolved homicides, or when the missing were found and they determined that it was a homicide, it's always the family is, I hope it was quick, I hope they didn't suffer. Obviously, it's just so heartbreaking. Yep, absolutely. um yeah, both were mentioned. From the tavern, the report from the tavern was that she got into the red semi, but then just later on in the Charlie Project, it just says she may have been riding in a black Kenworth truck at the time. And this was after it said that she had called her mother from Seattle, Washington, and then from the Dalles, Oregon, on or around on or about March 7th, is when she sent or when the mother got the letter that said that she expected that Rhonda expected to be at the boyfriend's house in 2 days, and then it says after that she may have been riding, or after that statement, the next sentence was she may have been riding in a black Kenworth truck. So maybe I don't know. Maybe she got out of one truck and got into a different one. That's the only thing I can. Yeah, Z says it. Sometimes they change rides. Absolutely. And that's it. That's a valid statement. Z says either the brain injury, because I question, we're talking about the boyfriend. Either the brain injury caused him to wait 2 weeks, or it took 2 weeks before he had the cleanup done. Possibility, possibility. 'Cause, I mean, once again, I go back to I want to be a fly on the wall for what he said in the when the police interviewed him. Uh, because they made due to traumatic head injury, they thought he was just confused or possibly delusional. So that makes me wonder what exactly he said. Let me see. I'm gonna get caught up and we'll move on before we get any deeper into this rabbit hole. Um, yeah, Josh says there could be two different interactions with different trucks. Absolutely. Avery says their chihuahuas mean not to us but to other people. I know that little one, the little one that I delivered, the house I delivered to. I say I don't know if it's male or female, but it's a good guard dog. I mean, it's definitely gonna let you know if somebody that pulls up in the driveway. Or like I said, maybe it's usually has dog food in the order, and maybe it's saying, "Hurry up, get my food up there so I can eat." Shoot. Sorry. Yeah. Z says sometimes you take the first ride, it goes so far, and then you catch another one. Yeah. Yeah. It could be multiple. Could have been. There's no telling. Honestly, there's no telling how many trucks she could have ridden in. Um. So either none of there's no telling how many trucks she could have ridden in. It could none of the drivers could have had anything to do with it, or one of the drivers could have had something to do with it, or just. Yeah, Josh says, my question is how the mother comes by this information about the truck. So was it the mother that said that she got into the red semi truck at the tavern, or did you find somewhere that she was the one that mentioned the black Kenworth truck? Oh, I used to. Zia says I love writing letters and cards. I know, man. Telling you, you growing up in the 70s and 80s, pen pals were, obviously big back then. I had so many pen pals. So I would just write. That's what I would do. I would go to school and I would come home and turn my music on and go grab the mail, see how many letters I got from my pen pals, and then, spend all night writing my pen pals back. I was never very much of a big card person of sending cards. Um, yeah. Avery says, I forgot all about payphones. I haven't seen one in forever. I don't even know. Surely, maybe on some abandoned street corner somewhere, you might can. I don't know. Probably in museums nowadays, you could find a payphone. Oh goodness! If you ask anyone under the age of what, probably under the age of is 20 going too far? They probably be what's a payphone? What's a you think? I don't want to get off on a tangent. Well, I had to say this for Friday night. I mean, kids or young adults, they've never seen, don't know what VCRs are, what VHS tapes are, what payphones are, I mean, just have no clue. And it's just, it makes me feel so old. Anyway, um, Z says, I'm thinking she mentioned it in the letter, or was she seen on some surveillance at a truck stop in Omaha? That's interesting. I didn't think about that. Ah, that's interesting. Josh says her mother, however, later states that she believes that her daughter did make it to California. That means she may be sus about the boyfriend. So maybe that's why she made the statement. What was it earlier that you posted about? I don't know if I can find it again. The one I said gave me chills about. They hoped that it was quick or something like that. Hmm. You're sending me down another rabbit hole. Oh yeah, he what did he say? Where's your wayward daughter? Is that how he put it? Z says I'm sus, especially with the terms he used talking about her daughter. Yeah, the wayward daughter. Yeah, back in the 80s, there were some uh surveillance or CCTV and like gas stations and stuff, maybe restaurants. Not definitely once again, obviously not as much as we have nowadays, but Josh says surveillance in 88 possible, maybe at a truck stop or travel center. Yeah, it was definitely. Did they have? I'm sure probably the rich people had maybe surveillance security cameras at their home security cameras back in the 80s, but for the most part, no. But yeah, I could see like public places like restaurants, gas stations having at least one like CCTV surveillance camera. Once again, with the VHS that got recorded over after what, probably so many hours. Z says in 88 they did have some surveillance at truck stops back then, not a lot, but some. Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Junior. Junior says, I'm heading to bed. Have a good week, everyone. Thank you, Junior, for being here. We always appreciate you being here, sir. Have a good night's rest. Have a blessed night. Yeah, we got to get on. I think I don't even know how many we've done so far. You guys always ask so many good questions, though, and have such good thoughts on these cases. That's why I spend so much time in chat, getting to everybody's comments about the cases. Do what now? Oh, what were those called? Josh says, you know that for a short while in the States, the video disc player, oh God, what were they called? Yeah, they look like a vinyl LP, played movies and films on vinyl. I got one for my brother who is into vintage video games and films. Oh no, what were they called? But yeah, they were about the. I think we did have one of those players. They were literally, excuse me, the size of a vinyl album. Oh, if Echoes was, I don't know if Echoes is still here. He would know what it was called. But yeah, but it was like it wasn't like a CD. It was literally the size of a vinyl album. I think at one time we had one of those players. Dang it, I can't think of what it's called. Anyway, um, video disc. It had a name. It had a name. Jeez, can't think of it. Anyway, okay, so back to Rhonda. Josh says Rhonda left her stepfather's house after an argument over the long distance phone calls, according to her mother. Hmm. So now we have a stepfather. Not saying he had anything to do with it, just interesting, worth noting. Oh, so the argument with the stepfather is what spurred this trip. But we do know that she made it out of the stepfather's house or out of the house. Or well, I mean, from what from what we've read, we know now if everybody's telling the truth. But yeah, she was last seen outside the tavern getting into the truck, into the semi. Um, oh, that's sad. Josh says later in 1995, excuse me, Rhonda's mother tried to have her case reopened, so they closed the case. Rhonda's mother tried to have her case reopened after Rhonda's brother was diagnosed with a terminal disease. Mm. Laser was it? No, laser disc. Is that what I was? Oh, maybe laser disc was what I was trying to think of. So the video disc, but I have no idea what you're talking about then. So Josh says video disc players, not to be confused with laser disc. I think that's what I was thinking of. Not to be confused with laser discs, which were more like CDs, but a vinyl LP size. See, that's what I remember. Yeah, laser disc. So what are video disc players? Oh Lord, now I'm gonna go down that rabbit hole. Video disc players were actually vinyl with a needle, but they play video. How does that even work? Josh, are you delusional? Do you have a head trauma? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Yeah, Z says, okay, I'm confused. If she was last seen in Oregon with the purpose of going to California, how does she end up in Omaha, Nebraska? That isn't on the way. That is true. That is true. I would have to, if I could, I would bring up a map right now, but I can't. Yeah, yeah, Omaha would be, see, that's what, see, I still, unless the mom said, yeah, that is my daughter's handwriting. Do we know that that she even wrote the letter? Now, so far, Josh hasn't come up with anything that the mom, I mean, said that, the mom says yay or nay that it was or was, but surely, if it wasn't, if the mom said, no, that's not my daughter's handwriting, it would be mentioned somewhere. Anyway, that's a whole different rabbit hole. Um, yeah, just, yeah. So oh my gosh, now I'm going down even more. So Z says that makes me believe someone else mailed her letter, someone that made her disappear, made her write the letter. Hmm. So yeah, if somebody forced her to write the letter, then the mom said, "Oh yeah." Even if the mom said, "Yeah, that's her handwriting," she might not have wrote it voluntarily. Oh my gosh, so many rabbit holes. Josh says he what? Josh says I was turning over in my head right now. My head is going a mile a minute. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Oregon. Yeah, Z says Oregon is right above California. Nebraska is in the middle of the United States. Yes. Yeah. So that makes no sense. Oh my goodness. Okay. Good Lord. We're gonna have to move on. But yeah. We might have to circle around at some point and just revisit this case. Once I get all my stuff straightened out, I might have to have a Z and Josh on with all y'all's knowledge and finding stuff and see what else we can dig up about this case. Okay, all right, moving on. So next, this should be Alan M. Keller. So Alan has been missing since March 23rd, 1986. He is a white male. He was 36 years old when he went missing. 6 foot tall, 230 pounds, with brown hair and hazel eyes. It says he has a scar on one of his left fingers and the following tattoos. He has a woman riding either a snake or a dragon on his left forearm and a heart on his right upper arm. Typical 80s tattoos. So Alan was last seen when he dropped off his son in the vicinity. Sorry, notifications keep popping up on my phone. So he was last seen when he dropped off his son in the vicinity of 132nd and Grover Streets in Omaha at around 6:45 p.m. He called his wife to say that he was going to Casio's restaurant to meet the owner and he would be home by 8 p.m. So apparently he never arrived at the restaurant. He never returned home and he's never been seen or heard from again after that call and after dropping off his son. So it says, I'm assuming he dropped off the son. It doesn't say if he and the wife were separated or if he had just taken the son out somewhere and said he was going to drop him off at their, drop him home and then go meet the owner of this restaurant for whatever reason. Anyway, so he was driving a brown and white 1978 Chevy Monte Carlo at the time of his disappearance. It was found abandoned at 10th and Anthony Streets near this Casio's restaurant 11 weeks after he was last seen. See, it may just be a tick of mine. Whenever we have a case, now I can understand if you have a vehicle that goes missing with the person, and then years and years later, or months and months later, or weeks later, it's found 100 miles away. I can understand. Okay, that's why it took them that long to find the truck. But and when they say near the restaurant, I'm assuming fairly close. How could it take them 11 weeks to find the vehicle? I don't know. That's just a pet peeve of mine. Anyway, so earlier on the same day that he disappeared, he apparently visited a lady named Kathleen Malm in the 2100 block of Madison Street. And then apparently 2 years later, in July of 1988, this Kathleen passed away of an OD. So authorities said that her death had what they call, quote, questionable circumstances. And they are looking into the theory that someone forced her. It was not a accidental or self-harm OD, that it was somebody made her OD on purpose. So they're looking to the theory that someone forced her to take the substance to keep her, from telling the police what she knew about Alan's disappearance. So I can see a whole lot of rabbit holes to go down in this one already. So Kathleen's fiance said that he knew. Hold on, let me make sure I type this right. Kathleen's fiance said that he knew that she knew Alan, but never questioned her on what exactly it was they did, as he suspected whatever dealings Alan had with Kathleen were not legal. So did we get all that? So Kathleen's fiance said that he knew that she knew the missing Alan, but never questioned what exactly they did because he suspected that whatever dealings that they were doing were not legal. So I'm just going to go on the assumption, this is just my assumption, that it could have had something to do with some illegal substances. So Alan's wife, who divorced him after his disappearance and remarried in 1989, said that she also believed that her husband was involved in some kind of illegal dealings. She said that she asked him never to bring his associates to their house, and he never did, according to her. Interesting. So no one has ever been charged in Alan's disappearance, but investigators believe that he was probably the victim of a homicide, probably because of these alleged illegal dealings in whatever it was. His case remains unsolved. But if you do have any information, once again, call the Omaha PD at 402-444-5818. So yeah, back in the 80s, so this was in 86, it was the white substance, the white powdery substance was the big things. I mean, that might not have been what they're talking about, but I mean, that was big time back then. I think in the 80s is when the I guess I could say the crack was becoming popular. Hopefully YouTube won't flag me for that, but just saying maybe that was some kind of the illegal dealings that both this Kathleen's fiance and Alan's wife believe that they were involved in. Nevertheless, and every missing person, no matter what they were involved with, deserves to have their story out there and to find out what happened. Um, yeah, that was all the information, very limited information that I could find with Alan's case. Um, let me get caught up once again in your comments right quick. I feel like my voice. Let me get some water. Hold on. Get my water. All right, that's a little bit better. Okay. Um. Okay. So going back to who is it? Rhonda. We were talking about. Let me make sure I got the right one. Yeah, Rhonda. Z says she could have written a letter, but she didn't send it. The bad guy found the letter and dropped it off in Nebraska. Absolutely. To which restaurant? Which restaurant? Hold on. In Alan's case, or Z says, I know where that is. We lived around Omaha. Doc went to the restaurant a lot. Which one? The Cassio's in Alan's case? Or am I behind in comments? I'm not that behind. Um, no, that's fine. Josh says Interstate, if I can push the right button. Interstate 80 site, connects sites, I can't read, as a hub from Eugene. I used to have, speaking of pen pals, I used to have back in the day, a pen pal from Eugene, Oregon. Anyway, so this Interstate 80 connects as a hub that connects from Eugene, near Veneta, Oregon, Omaha, and Sacramento from the looks of it. Yeah, but still, yeah, if she was going, but it wouldn't, I mean, the truck driver could have been going towards Nebraska, but I mean, if she was trying to get to California, why would she take a ride with somebody going the opposite direction, going towards Nebraska? Anyway, um, oh gosh, keep pushing the not pushing the wrong buttons, but just on the phone it's harder. I wish I had my computer back. Z says he got his divorce May 13th, 1988. Um, he's telling Josh, focus. No, it's fine. It's fine. I'm still, when I was reading Alan's case, I was still having things about Rhonda's case going on in my head, new thoughts. Perfectly fine. I do the same thing. Okay, so Josh says, if I get to come out, there it is. I meant to say Salt Lake City appears to be the hub between those locations. So that's in Utah. Yeah, I don't know. I just, for some reason, the letter to me keeps sticking in Wanda's case. The more I think about it, it's possible. I think possible a possibility. I'm just saying possibility that yeah, somebody made her write it, or like Z said. I think it was Z said. The truck driver that had ill intent towards her that could have, had something to do with her disappearance, possible homicide, found the letter and maybe to throw, I don't know, to throw the police or mom off track was gonna, go towards Nebraska or just having to be passing through Omaha and mailed the letter just to kind of maybe throw them off track or something. Yeah, I think the letter is, I don't know. The more I think about it, I don't know. She may have written it like Z said, and then if the truck driver, like I said, had the ill intent, just decided to mail it for whatever to throw off the track, or she was forced to write it. But I don't know. But then again, oh God, I gotta quit going down rabbit holes. If you're gonna force somebody that is most like, well, now my satellite's out. Anyway, um, squirrel. Um, I got too many thoughts in my head right now, too many cases. But if you're gonna make somebody write a letter, you would think that you would make it instead of saying, because in the letter, I think it said she expected to be to the boyfriend's house in 2 days. Wouldn't if you were gonna make somebody disappear and didn't want somebody to looking for them for a while, you would say, oh, you would make them write, oh, I'm not gonna be. It'll be a month or 2 months or 6 weeks or something. I don't know. I'm babbling. I'm losing the plot. Anyway. Anyway. Okay. Um. Oh, so you've been to the Casio? Am I pronouncing that right? Casio's Steakhouse in Omaha, Nebraska. Oh, I thought organized crime too. I'm telling you, Ms. Z are on the same. Me and Z are on the same wavelength. She says Nebraska, the Casio Steakhouse has well documented historical ties to early organized crime. That's another. I'm not gonna say obsession, but thing I'm interested in is the mafia organized crime. It was an Italian place. So yeah, and once again, the back in the '80s was the prime heyday of the American mafia. Uh, with the what's his name, the Teflon Don. I can't think of his name right now. Yeah, that was '80s was prime heyday, and they were, even though it was supposedly, not to go off on a tangent about organized crime, but supposedly drug substances were a no-no. You didn't deal substances if you were in the mob because you were more likely to be caught and get more jail time. But obviously, anything that the mob, organized crime, can make money off of, including illegal substances, they were going to do it. Anyway, that's a whole different rabbit hole. But yeah, that would make sense. Yeah, with the illegal substances or these illegal dealings, and then they think that Kathleen, was that her name, Kathleen, was probably. They think she may have been forced. It was a forced OD to shut her up about what happened to Alan. Yeah, totally makes sense. Absolutely. I feel like I'm just rambling and babbling tonight, y'all. Anyway, no, you're fine, Josh. Don't ever. You're fine. Um, You are fine. You can talk about any case. Y'all chat about any case that we were talking about, or even if we don't talk about a case, you still talk about it. The chat is you guys. Josh says he chases mongooses. I've heard of mongooses. Says look them up. They are wild in Hawaii. Uh, or is it? He says, or is it mongoose? Yeah. What is the plural of mongoose? Is it mongooses or mongoose? Because the plural of goose is geese. Oh God, I'm so unhinged tonight, y'all. You can tell it's been 2 weeks. I've just got so much on my mind. I don't know. Maybe it's just the stress relief right now. I got my mind off everything that's going on in life right now. And I'm just, ah. Anyway, if I apologize to anybody if it's your first time here. I'm usually, well, it's usually, I'm usually goofy, usually not this goofy. I promise. I promise. There's always a little bit of goofiness going on, but usually not to this extent. Um, yeah, that's true. Josh, going back to Rhonda's case, says as often as her family suggests that she wrote letters and cards, I think it would be hard to pass someone else's handwriting as Rhonda's. As I think about it, yeah, yeah. See, that's why I mentioned earlier that surely if the mother had, when she got the letter, said this is not Rhonda's handwriting, surely that would have been mentioned somewhere in some article, as much stuff as much information as Josh has been able to find. So yeah, either she did legitimately write it, and then something, thinking, yeah, she was going to be at her boyfriend's house in 2 days, and then something happened after that. um but I still don't, I'm hung up too on the why would she be going towards Omaha if she was trying to get to California. So that makes me think that, like Z said, once again, somebody else found the letter and just dropped it, dropped it in the mailbox in Omaha, going through Omaha, or she was forced to write it. But then again, I don't know. I had to stop. Anyway, oh, you're fine, Josh. Don't ever apologize. Z says, I'm not surprised about the letter. I think she wrote it because they were used to her sending cards and stuff. Absolutely. Oh my goodness. Z says, I cleaned the house for the one family once for a friend. They were Italian and he was a well known bookie. Oh my goodness. I didn't know that when I took the job one time and I was, you'll be messing around with them mob, with them mob people. Oh goodness. Um, oh, let me see. Let me get caught up and we'll go to the next one. That's it, Gotti's. Thank you, Mustang. I couldn't think of his name for the life of me. John Gotti, yeah, the Teflon Don, yeah. Back in the 80s was Gotti's heyday. All right, okay. I think I'm caught up again. I think we got a couple more. Remember to advance my slides. Okay, so this should be Colin. I'm gonna try not to butcher his last name. Maglisic. I'm gonna go with Maglisic. Could be Maglis. I'm just gonna go Maglisic. Anyway, Colin has been missing since November 9th of 2021. From Omaha, he's a white male. He was 25 years old when he went missing. 6'1", 160 pounds, with brown hair and brown eyes, and he has a scar on his chest. And also, so this is a twofer. I'm not being disrespectful saying that. This is a so Colin and I believe it was it his sister, stepsister, girlfriend, half sister. So Jessica Lauren McGlissick, who is Colin's half sister, also went missing together. They went missing together. Although her missing date is listed as the 6th. Now I think there's a reason for that when I get to it. I don't remember. But she went missing or was last seen in Liberty, Kentucky. I think he had went to pick her up. Okay, let me just go. So her vitals, she's a white female. She was 15, just 15 years old when she went missing with Colin. 5'6", 5'6" tall, 120 pounds, with brown hair and brown eyes. It says that she may use the last name Hatfield. So we have Colin, who was 25, Jessica, who is his half sister, who was 15. So, but then in the details, it says Colin was last seen on November 6th of 2021. So anywhere between the 6th and the 9th, we'll go with that. So he disappeared with his half sister Jessica after he picked her up in Liberty, Kentucky. So the pair, they were spotted on a Ring doorbell at Colin's mother's home. Okay, so this is where the 9th comes in. So they were spotted on Ring doorbell at Colin's mother's home on November 9th. So I guess that's why he's missing. His missing is November 9th. So after that, Colin's silver 2001 Saturn was seen driving west off of an intersection. It just says an intersection in Topeka, Kansas. So Jessica and Colin have never been seen or heard from again. Omaha police are investigating the case. So Omaha police are investigating Colin's case. Kentucky police are investigating Jessica's case, since technically the last place she was known to be was in Kentucky. Anyway, so if you have any information, call the Omaha PD at 402-444-5818. And I don't have the Kentucky number. Uh, you can look up the Kentucky PD. I don't know where in Liberty, Kentucky, or call 911. They can get you in touch with the right people. And unfortunately, that is all the information I was able to find on Colin and Jessica's case. Don't know why he was picking her up in Kentucky. Not saying that it was anything nefarious, but it just doesn't give a reason. Maybe she had been living out there or visiting someone. He went out there to pick her up, bring her back. Um, or maybe they were both okay. Or maybe they both lived in Liberty because they're half siblings. Maybe they had a different father. Sorry, I'm just trying to reread the information, trying to make sense of it. Because it says they were spotted on a Ring doorbell camera at Colin's mother's home in Omaha on November 9th. So technically, that Ring, and then on the they were seen. So I'm assuming traffic cams is where they saw the Collins 2001 Saturn was seen driving west off of an intersection in Topeka, Kansas, sometime after the 9th. So maybe they were going to visit their mother. Maybe the mother was what they had in common, and they were going to visit her or going to stay with her. But it didn't say if they made contact with the mother. It just says that they were spotted on her Ring doorbell camera. And then after that is when they were spotted. The car was seen at an intersection in Topeka, Kansas. So not a whole lot to go on, unfortunately, with this one. But once again, a little bit of information is better than none. Right, so let me oh, I always forget about Discord. Josh says, before I go, I don't think you're on my Discord. I posted there that one of the stories featured on my channel last year was solved. Gloria Ann Covington Emerald. Oh, I'm gonna have to look at that. I remember that you talking about that case. See, I thought about you too here a while back. You know, we had all the, which I haven't been been able to keep up with that. All the missing scientists. The one I forgot what her name was. The one you featured. You did one of your lives. I think it's one of the what last lives that you've done. She was a scientist or whatever. One of the missing scientists. With the whole conspiracy theory about that. They found her body, right? And I'm still unclear about if they even know how what her manner or call. Well, I think manner and cause are two different things. Manner of death is like if it was a homicide, self harm, accident. Cause of death is whatever GSW stab wound, whatever. I think I have that right. I'm not sure. Anyway, once again, squirrel. Um, what was her name? I can see her face. I can't think of her name, but yeah, they found her body. Probably been about what 3 weeks, a month ago now. Anyway, but yes, I will. Gloria and Covington. I will look at that. Thank you. Yeah, that is an unusual spelling. Ms. Z says I've never seen Colin spelled that way. Yeah, Collyn, or is it YN? Yeah, I think I misspelled it when I was typing. Yeah, Collyn. Oh, Miss G, Miss G, Miss Z says child creeper. He does. Not saying, but yeah, he kind of had a look about him. He's kind of got that Amish look too. I think somebody may have mentioned that in the comments further down. Yeah, so he was 25. Jessica that disappeared with him, or they disappeared together, 15. Hmm. I'm not saying it. It could be something, could be nothing. Josh says my mother used to be apprehensive about stopping at rest area. Oh, I'm apprehensive about stopping at any rest area. But he says stopping at rest areas near Omaha when we travel there. Yeah, rest areas, or especially at night, and if you're I say female, but female, male or female, anybody traveling alone, especially, be very, very careful. Some bad things can happen, no matter how nice the rest areas are. Because I have been on some trips with mom and my aunt with Little Rock Tours. We stop at some very, very nice rest areas. Don't let that fool you. Bad things can still happen. And then around here, like between here and Memphis, because I live about an hour and a half or so from Memphis. You got the out of a horror movie, what they call, I use the word rest stop loosely. We don't stop at those anymore. Back in the day, we did. Well, maybe, I don't know. We did some stupid stuff back in the day. Uh, Z says, don't know why we had good rest areas in Omaha. Yeah, the rest areas here, which I don't travel a lot. The last traveling I did the last two times was to Arizona and back to pick up my nephew when he was out uh, last summer and the summer before last. He went out to visit his grandma, and so me and the baby brother went this past summer and the summer before to pick him up. But I totally forgot where I was going with that. Oh, about the rest areas. We don't stop at rest areas. We stop at like gas stations and like Loves and stuff like that. Anyway, I'm getting off track again as usual. Um, I think we got one more after this, but I'm gonna get caught up with. Yeah, Josh says she would often say it's dangerous there and wouldn't let us play too much around the rest areas are uh, not a good place to. Yeah, I didn't think about that. So yeah, Yeah, that is true. It would be the dad. It would be the dad. So Z says Colin and his sister have the same last name, Glisick. So would yeah, the father. Yeah, that yeah, I was backwards. Yeah, so it would be Colin's mother. So yeah, because it didn't say it was Colin and Jessica's mother, it just said Colin's mother. So yeah, the father. I was backwards. Imagine that. Uh, okay, yeah. So Z says Colin picked up Jessica at her mother's home on Martins Creek Road in Liberty. Yeah, so they had the same father. Yeah, I was backwards. Yes, that's it. Melissa Cassius. Yes. Yeah, Taos, New Mexico, Los Alamos. She was an employee at the Los Alamos lab. Yeah, she was included in the list of the missing scientists. Yeah. But I think the last thing, and I don't know if I just read it in passing, was that they did find a firearm, or she did have a firearm with her, and the firearm was found near her. But I could have been dreaming. I don't know. But I think they said that when they did the autopsy, they found no um how can I say this? Found no bullets anywhere in her body. Now I could be wrong. I could have misread it because, like I said, I think I just flipped through it, came across it quickly, and was like, hmm. And I was intending to go back and read about it, and then it just, squirrel, and I just forgot about it. Um, I think so. So Mizzy says, so were they spotted on? Okay, so it says they were spotted. The pair were spotted on the Ring doorbell at Colin's mother's home in Omaha on November 9th. So it was his mom's Ring doorbell camera in Omaha that they were spotted on. And then sometime after that, it didn't say exactly when, is when the Saturn was seen, assumably by traffic cams, because they have them at all the intersections, at this intersection in Topeka, Kansas, sometime after the 9th. And that was the last that they were seen, I'm assuming, seen or heard from. Yeah, Josh says they found Melissa in Carson National Forest, 6 or 7 miles from her home with a weapon near her. So did I read it? Am I imagining it when I don't know. I could have just been, I could have thought I read, it said that they didn't find any, like, she didn't have any bullets in her anywhere. Now, I could just been imagining that. I don't know. Z says his car was found abandoned on I-70 on the west side of Topeka, Kansas. So you don't leave behind a car unless you're hiding. True, true. So either they or he, we're just going on possibilities. So either for some reason they both wanted to leave or go somewhere voluntarily. Because and the information, just the limited information I've found on Charlie Project, doesn't say that. Did they contact, did they talk to the mother, or were they just caught on the Ring doorbell and the mom didn't talk to them, his mother? So either they both disappeared voluntarily, both of them didn't disappear voluntarily, or one of them made the other one disappear involuntarily, if you know what I'm saying. I'm trying to say it without saying it because I don't want to accuse anybody because we don't know what happened, evidently, or obviously. But I see what you're saying. Thank you, Josh. Always good to have you here, my friend. Always love the information that y'all come up with. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, it did say that Jessica May also used the last name Hatfield. So I'm assuming no, No, because once again, I had to make the father. They have to have the same father. I'm assuming his last name is McGlissick. So why would she use the last name Hatfield unless it was her mother's maiden name, mother's name, stepfather's name? Who knows? But that is interesting. Yes, absolutely. Sleep well, Josh. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. Yeah, that's what I thought too. Josh says Hatfield, like the Hatfield and McCoys. Possibly. Z says, well, she was living in Kentucky. Not throwing any shade at Kentucky, just saying. Um, oh, so I'm right. See, that's what oh, thank goodness. I was right about something. Z says, Melissa Cassius, they did find the pew pew, but it was not used on her. You're right. See, that's what I was thinking. So why? I mean, to me, that makes it even more suspicious. Have they found, what am I trying to say? Have any results from her autopsy been released? I'm assuming probably not, just of the nature of the whole conspiracy theory thing. But it would be interesting to know what they found or what the determination of the autopsy, the manner and cause of death was for her. Paula, you talking about this case, Paula? Was not considered suspicious. Colin and Jessica's. I don't know. I don't know. My thoughts are either, how do I say this respectfully? Um, either um, either call, even though they were half siblings, maybe Colin and Jessica wanted to be together. We'll just put it that way. Maybe one wanted to be with the other one and the other one didn't necessarily want to be with the other one, if you know what I mean. And then something happened that way. Or that something nefarious, something nefarious happened to both of them. They ran into some bad person or people. But yeah, in my opinion, all missing persons cases are have some level of suspicion. I mean, because why else? Unless you just find out for a fact that you hear from that person, hey, I left on my own for whatever reason. I'm okay. I just had to get away. Unless you hear that, in my thinking, my opinion, unless you hear that, I'm always going to be suspicious somehow or another. Um, That's true. Z says, so you wonder what happened if he was going to run away with her. Why take her back to Omaha first? See, I wonder that too. See, that's why I wondered why, or wondered if they actually made contact with his mother, talked to her, or what. It just says that they were seen on the Ring doorbell. Did they just stop by there real quick? I mean, I don't know. That's what frustrates me with just so little information that I could find. Um, anyway, yeah, these once again, me and Z are on the same wavelength. She said I was wondering about that too. Did they talk with mom? Yes. Did they talk to mom? If so, what did they say to mom? What was the conversation? Did they say, "Hey, we're going. Hey, we're running away. We're leaving, or we're leaving for whatever reason?" Even though she was only 15 years old. She was a minor. She could not, as Ms. Z would say, she was a minor. She could not consent to anything. Or did they say, hey, we're going to go visit, we're going to this place to visit so and so or to do whatever. We'll be back in a few days. And something happened. It's just so, like I said, so frustrating with so little information. To what? Oh, do you mean to Spain? I think Miss Paula said congratulations to Spain. Yeah, didn't I didn't watch any of it. Didn't Spain end up winning the soccer thing, the World Cup? Yes, congratulations to Spain because I think they beat who they beat. They beat the ones who were the favorites. I can't understand. I don't keep up with soccer, but Yeah, come, oh my goodness. Says her mother could have remarried and been a Hatfield. True. That's also a possibility. Z says, could Colin also have ran with Jessica to protect her from someone else? That is a legitimate question. That absolutely. Was someone else with them in the car? That will be, you would think, unless because I mean, those intersection cam, and this was in what, 2021, so just 3 or 4 years ago. You can see a lot of detail in those cameras they have at the intersections, and then they have these flock camera nows everywhere for the purpose of picking up vehicles. I mean, so unless the person was like hiding in the trunk or down in the floorboard, I think you probably would have been able to see if there was someone else in the car with them. I'm not saying there. I don't know if there was or there wasn't, but yeah, I didn't think about that. That he could have been taking her somewhere to protect her from someone else. Absolutely. Also a good question. Z says she was picked up on the 6th, seen on Ring doorbell on the 9th in Omaha, and then car is found shortly after the 9th. Where is the father? That is a valid question. Valid question. Maybe. I'm not saying that this is just me speculating. Maybe something was going on with somebody in her house, in Jessica's household. She called Colin, I need help. I need to get out of here. Come get me. He comes and gets her from to protect her from whoever. Father, somebody in the house, somebody. And then and I would want to know if they talked to his mother in Omaha or not. And but then why abandon the car? I mean, the car was found abandoned unless they were hiding from the father or from someone that was doing something not so nice to her. Another rabbit hole I'm going down. Okay, I think I'm caught up. So I think we got one more, if I'm not mistaken. So this should be Jennifer Anderson. Yeah, this is the last one we have. Okay, so Jennifer has been missing since March the 9th, 2010. She's a white female. She was 32 years old when she went missing. She'll be 48 years old as of 2026. At the time she went missing, she was 5'7" tall, 110 pounds. 5'7" is pretty tall for a lady. Well, I don't know. I'm assuming. But I'm just 5'3", so uh she had blonde hair and blue eyes. Her last known clothing was a charcoal gray jacket with a blue front, dark blue denim leggings, a gray sweater, and brown shoes. She has the following tattoos. She has a shamrock on her buttocks. She has a salamander on her toe and a flower on her ankle. She has a scar near her left eyebrow, a scar on her right wrist, and a scar on the outside of her left ankle, and her ears are pierced. She has several medical conditions requiring regular medication, which she does not have with her. So that's all adds to the concern. She has previously suffered episodes of depression, which is also more concerning. And she was emotionally distressed at the time of her disappearance. So lots, just in that little bit of information, lots of concerns. So Jennifer was last seen at her apartment near 120th Street and Blondo, if I spelled that right, Blondo Street at approximately 1 a.m. on March 9th. She was depressed at the time of her disappearance, and her parents had gone to stay with her to help out. So she left a note for them saying that she was going for a drive. She has never been seen or heard from again. Obviously, lots of concerns with this one. So on March 15th, so almost a week after she was last seen, her maroon Chevy Lumina was found locked and abandoned near Rick's Boatyard Cafe in the 300 block of Riverfront Drive, which is east of the Quest Center. I'm assuming that's maybe some kind of sports arena or something. I've heard of the Quest Center. Her wallet and purse were inside, but the keys were missing. Since her disappearance, Jennifer has not accessed her credit cards or bank account. She left her cell phone behind. The restaurant where her car was found is near the Missouri River, and authorities did search the river but found no clues, no signs of her. She worked as a registered nurse at Methodist Hospital in Omaha at the time of her disappearance. She grew up in Sutton, Nebraska, which is a small town 2 hours from Omaha. And she graduated from Sutton High School, and she also went to Doane College. Although authorities do not suspect foul play was involved in her case, it is uncharacteristic of her to leave without warning, and her family believes that she is in danger, and her case remains unsolved. So if you do have any information on this case, you call the Douglas County Sheriff's Office at 402-444-6000. And I was able to find a short article from the Lincoln Journal Star from April of 2010. It says, despite extraordinary search efforts, an Edgar family has few leads nearly a month after their daughter's disappearance. She has never before cut off contact with family and friends, said her brother Josh. Although authorities have found no sign of foul play, the family does fear the worst. Her brother Josh said, quote, those are the places your mind keeps going and it worries you sick, end quote. Loved ones organized searches by foot and ATVs along several miles of the river. They also got help from a Texas organization that used high-tech sonar to search the river channel. Oh, what is it? EquiSearch is the one in Texas. I don't know if that's the one they're talking about. The searches turned up no evidence, according to her brother, so the family did hire a private investigator and is trying to get certified divers to search the river. In the meantime, they are appealing for anyone who may have seen her to come forward. Jennifer grew up on the farm of her parents, Carl and Karen Anderson, near Edgar. Once again, she attended Sutton High School and Doane College in Crete. On March 9th, her parents were staying with her at her apartment near 120th and Blondo Streets. Said that she'd been troubled. She told them and that she needed to go for a drive and that she left about 1 a.m. When her parents woke the next morning, they realized she had not returned. They immediately, obviously, were concerned. Her brother Josh said, quote, she has never been anyone to quit anything. She's never missed work. That's why it is particularly worrisome to us, end quote. So Douglas County Sheriff's Lieutenant Mark Gentile said that her car was found near Rick's Boatyard Cafe, not far from the Missouri River and close to the recreational trails and the pedestrian bridge. Once again, her purse was in the car. Her cell phone was also left behind. The keys were missing. Although they've ruled nothing out, authorities have found no evidence that she was attacked or abducted, according to Lieutenant Gentile. Her brother said, quote, I think she touched a lot of people's lives. They don't want her to be out of their lives, end quote. So residents of nearby Sutton did plaster missing persons flyers all over town, according a friend named Pam, who's a friend of the family, said, quote, I think everyone is anxious about the situation and they're hoping and praying for her return, end quote. So that is what we have on Jennifer. So, I mean, obviously, and I'm not saying this is what happened, I don't know, but I mean, the first thing on my list would be possible possible self-harm, or well, it said that she needed to go for a drive, but I mean, it was 1 a.m. in the morning, which just because I wouldn't go out for a drive or a walk at 1 a.m. in the morning doesn't mean that somebody else wouldn't. Possible that she did want to go for a drive. It said the car was found close to the a pedestrian bridge and like basically what they call it, recreational trails. Maybe she did just go out there and intended to go for a walk on the trails at 1 o'clock in the morning, and she had an accident. Either had an accident and they just, I don't know if it's what the terrain is. Is it forested? Were there any embankments or cliff, something she could have fallen over and they just haven't found her? Did something nefarious happen? Self harm? Was it self harm? I mean, just a few possibilities. Obviously, once again, we don't know, but just let me see what you guys have to say, and then we will get out of here. Um, so going back to Colin and Jessica's case, as he says, would his father have had Colin take Jessica someplace safe? Possible. It's possible. Absolutely. Mustang, going back to Jennifer's case, says sounds like self harm at first glance. That's what I was thinking. Said that she, let me go back to make sure I don't quote it wrong. It says she had several medical conditions requiring medication. I don't know if any of the medical conditions were mental related. It says she had previously suffered episodes of depression. It said that she was emotionally distressed at the time of her disappearance. So yeah, that's the first thing that came to my mind. Now, obviously, once again, we don't know for sure, but I mean that's sometimes you just have to look at the information and just kind of say, this is what I think. Ms. Z knows which street. She says, yes, I know that street too. Hey, Boston Christian, good to see you. Glad you could make it, my friend. See, that's what I've always wondered. Z says, why would you take the keys if you aren't coming back? Yeah, that's what I've always wondered, because usually in these missing person cases, whether it be self, ended up being self harm or or they just had an accident. I mean, I can understand if it was an accident. Yeah, I would just want to kind of get away, take a walk, and not just with Jennifer's case or with any case. I'm gonna leave my cell phone. I'm gonna leave my purse, lock it in the vehicle, take my keys, obviously, because I gotta have the keys to get back in the vehicle. Just gonna go for a walk, and then like I said, you have an accident or something bad, nefarious happens. But yeah, if you don't plan on coming back, why do you take the keys? I absolutely understand. Um, oh, Boston Christian says just waking up, got called in tonight. Uh-oh. Yeah, that's Z says she could have fallen in the river by accident. Absolutely. Yeah, that's why I don't know. That's why I said could have been she was going for a walk. Like I said, just because it wouldn't be normal for me doesn't mean it's not necessarily normal for somebody else to go out for a walk at 1 o'clock in the morning. And yeah, yeah, if it's dark, if I don't know how well lit the trails were. Absolutely possible it was accident and she fell in the river. Absolutely. Um, Yep, yeah. Z says someone could have found her walking and harmed her. Yeah, I know. Yeah. So my top three would be self harm. That she was going out for a walk and had an accident and did fall in the river. And we all know it's very, very hard to unfortunately, find somebody who goes into a river. Or, like you said, she was out walking and she, ran into a bad person and something happened that way. Yeah. So those are my top three. Really, those are the only three I can think of um, in this one. Thank you, Mustang. Um, yeah, Boston says a lot of missing people around rivers. Yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, like I said, and especially, I mean, I'm assuming them. I don't know that much about the Missouri River. Now I know about the Mississippi is very big. I'm assuming. I mean, the Missouri River. Of course, all rivers are different widths and depths at different. Whatever. You know what I'm trying to say. It's very hard to find people in water. It's hard to find vehicles in water, much less a person. So yeah, entirely possible is either a self harm, accidental, or something nefarious. So anyway, um, Z says the Missouri is fast and has a lot of stuff in it. Yeah, so I mean, so hopefully, so did they say that? So they said that let me go back and find it again once again. Um, so they got help from the Texas organization. Is it Texas EquiSearch? It might be a different one from. They use whoever it was, the Texas organization used high tech sonar to search the river. They didn't find anything. That doesn't mean that she's not in there somewhere. But they said they were trying to get certified divers to search the river. But yeah, it's so hard, dangerous actually for the divers in rivers, in running water rivers. Like Z said, the current is fast. There's lots of debris in it, so it's just very very hard for divers to search in those kind of conditions. Okay, Z says yeah, Texas EquiSearch. Okay. All right, let me make sure. I'm pretty sure that is the last one we had, and my phone is hot. Anyway, and my battery's about to go dead. So that is all we have for tonight. So I appreciate everybody who is here. Um, see, I had. Hold on. Why is it doing that? Anyway, um, yeah, as they said, the Missouri is really dirty too. Yeah. All right. So I appreciate everybody being here tonight in chat. Thank you to chat, to lurkers, to replay crew. Maybe depending, like I said, it's been crazy around here. Depending on if I have anything going on Friday night or not, I may just try to jump on here at some point Friday night and just have a chat and chill and chat. And I'll kind of get more into what's been going on and what's going to be going on and why it's been so crazy around here. And just talk about whatever you guys want to talk about, true crime or not, or both, whatever. A Southern gal after dark kind of thing. Um, Hey, you got my brain going too. Z said, thanks, great show. You got my brain going. You got mine going too. I'm telling you, between you and Josh, Lordy, Lordy, we're gonna have to once I get my stuff straightened out here and get proper some proper Wi-Fi going again. Uh, I would love for me and you and Josh to get together on one of our channels somehow and hash over some cases. I mean, can you imagine? We would be on for like 3 days. I'm telling you. No, I appreciate everything. Thank you, Mustang. Appreciate it. Yes. Please hit the subscribe and share. Thank you, Miss Paula. So I'm gonna quit babbling now. So like I said, hopefully I can make it on just to chill. Chill and have some fun, chat about some stuff, whatever's going on, maybe Friday night. But unless something comes up, I will get that scheduled. Probably around 8, usual time. Well, a little bit earlier. Usually it start at 8:30, but about 8 or so Central Time. So until then, thank you, Miss Z. Appreciate it. So until then, everybody, please stay safe. Staying out of this heat or whatever the heat, the storms, whatever kind of weather happens to be going on. The the smoke from the fires. Just everybody be safe, be kind. Uh, have a blessed night, and hopefully, I will see you guys Friday. If not, I will hopefully see you again next Monday for another Missing Person Monday. Until then, I love you guys. Once again, stay safe, and I will see you soon.